On the Black Channel, this is a program destined to test everyone's blood pressure, especially mine. I'm going to start with an article here that I posted on my YouTube channel here a few days ago. You are witnessing the illegals, immigrants, being used as tools directly targeting us. I want to start first with this piece out of Kentucky from WDRB. And you have to hear it and see it to believe it.
The state didn't want this out. Fraud inside Kentucky's transportation cabinet. Licenses issued without a driver's test.
It is an ongoing WDRB investigation, and tonight we hear from a whistleblower who says coworkers used her login to pull off this scheme.
Employees were being paid underneath the table.
They say sometimes
I immediately let my supervisor know about it.
truth hurts.
Did you ever think that this would cost you your job?
No,
And for Melissa Mormon,
I was angry for a long time.
this is one of those.
It hurts me that I'm talking about this and I actually like where I was working at.
Times.
I came into the office that day, my computer was shut down. I was told to go to the front door. Detectives came in, they interviewed me. That was it.
Mormon says she was fired 3 months after she sent this letter to the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, blowing the whistle that workers at the NIA Center licensing branch were selling driver's licenses under the table to people who never took the driver's test.
Now, let me go ahead and read for you there what that letter said. The letter said, I was approached by an outside source to go into a, quote, business venture that would take place at the KYTC DDL office. Someone will have birth certificates, social security cards, statements, and bills that are made to look legitimate. They will come into the office with a fast pass and go straight to the individual desk without being checked in. Would set up as normal, issue the customer, and scan the documents as normal. They would pay you directly for the transaction as normal. However, additional payment will be made to the individual for the service. I refused the offer for this business venture. I was advised not a good idea for several inquiries to make a decision. My 3200 was being used as part of this business venture at several locations, even when not in the office or not at my station to issue. Another source has approached me recently and asked if I was still interested in this business venture and advised was not interested, mentioning 2 employees at the NIA were recently let go under a similar suspicion. So that was the letter that she had sent 3 months prior, before they came and the state came and went not after the other folk, but after her.
The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, blowing the whistle that workers at the NIA Center licensing branch were selling driver's licenses under the table to people who never took the driver's test.
Undocumented workers.
How did it work? What was going on?
The undocumented workers would come into the office in groups. They would
Undocumented workers, I think you mean illegal aliens. The illegal aliens were being brought in, and who were their employers? But the illegal aliens, you mean?
Documented workers would come into the office in groups. They would provide them either permits or driver's license illegally. So they were bypassed without even taking the test.
How much?
$200 a person.
Up to 5 times a day, she says.
Was this an everyday thing?
Almost, yes.
I first reported on the driver's license fraud investigation in April after getting my hands on one of the state's revocation letters. We learned the transportation cabinet sent more than 1,500 of them in 5 months, telling drivers their license was issued in error and must be returned or they could be criminally charged.
Now, just to make sure you understand exactly what happened here, what she was saying was that some of her co-workers at the license bureau there were telling her, hey, we got this thing set up and folks will pay us $200 a piece. When they come in, don't have them check in. They're going to have phony credentials, phony birth certificates, phony social security numbers. You're going to do everything except go through the national the Homeland Security database. You're going to do you're supposed to do that, but you're going to forget to do that. And we're going to process these folks, and then we're going to keep them extra money from it. And that's what we're going to do. So these people would come into the office, walk past the regular procedure. They would not check in. They would just walk straight up to the desk of whoever it was who was supposed to check in, get them their fraudulent license. And that's how it was going to be. So they just walk straight in, straight to your desk. That's the way the hustle worked. They're not going to write anything down. You're just going to take their documents, check them into the system. They got their driver's license. Boom. Way you go. All for $200. Why don't they set that up for regular citizens, by the way? Regular citizens will go ahead and pay something extra if it gets them past the nonsense. Nope, that's just for illegals.
At the time, state officials confirmed at least 2 terminations, and ongoing state and federal investigations focused on the NIA Center in West Louisville and the E-Town license branch. But they denied all of our records requests, withholding 2,300 documents on the fraud. Mormon's story fills.
So if you want to know where the illegals are going in Kentucky, look no further than places like Louisville, obviously. Louisville apparently has got a big demand for illegals.
In the blanks.
I found out it may have been going on for a couple of years before it was found out.
We're told it wasn't as simple as people getting state-issued driver's license or permits without taking the test. She says 2 of her colleagues at the NIA Center approached her with a business venture, asking if she wanted to get in on the scheme.
I was asked to bring certain customers in, and they are brought in to me without signing in. And you would scan their documents as usual.
Documents made to look legitimate, like birth certificates and social security cards, according to the letter she wrote to the state. But a key to pulling off this scheme was making sure the required Homeland Security screening was never run.
I start getting these emails saying, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Are you doing this?
And that's where it unraveled. She says those workers were using her login, a password she says her bosses made her share.
Now, listen to this next part here. If you want to know how she got caught up in it, according to her, they made her swap around credentials for days or locations when she wasn't there. So she's saying that, yeah, that was something that everybody had to do, and the bosses, her managers, made her let other folk use her logins. So that's how she says that she got wrapped up in this.
And that's where it unraveled. She says those workers were using her login, a password she says her bosses made her share, as all workers at the driver's license branch did not have their own. And Mormon was training to be a supervisor.
I'm not even at my desk because I'm doing various duties, or I'm not there for the day. So, things start kind of coming together. I'm like, what's going on?
Was it always undocumented workers?
Yes.
Every time?
Every time.
It does not surprise me.
Adrian Trivedi helps people trying to obtain legal status, an immigration attorney for 14 years.
Now listen to how she talks about all this. She's rather sympathetic, by the way.
For those immigrants that don't have a pathway to obtain legal status, having a driver's license could mean the difference between getting home from work safely to their children, to their wives or husbands, and not for a relatively small price to be able to have that chance of avoiding deportation, even just for that day.
You know, if you don't break into the country illegally, do you risk deportation? Asking for a friend.
They're willing to take it.
To Mormon, this license scheme exploited people.
I didn't want no parts of it.
Mormon says she wrote this letter with her boss on October 29th, and she spoke to detectives 3 months later. She was fired the same day.
Gun punch, yes. Very hard gun punch.
She was 2 years and 3 months onto the job, but she didn't technically work for the state. Mormon was a contractor for Quantum, a staffing agency that Kentucky hired to help fill positions in driver's license branches when they took licensing away from the county clerks.
Okay, so in other words, these privatization things the Republicans love to do so much, but now you see the type of folks they're privatizing these things to. And of course, it's all intended to make it harder to track the illegals because the Republicans are very much as much a part of this as the Democrats are. The Republicans are not separate from it. The Republicans are very much as part of the illegal alien things as Democrats, as we've covered here before. So now you see that privatization thing. You see where all that kind of goes in.
Please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
Mr. Van Staten, this is Gilbert Corsi from WDRB News.
The Michigan-based company did not return our calls or emails.
It hung up.
It's shocking. Why would an employer punish and take retribution
Well, looks like she's lawyered up, so that's a good start.
on an employee that reported this wrongdoing?
Mormon story, now the heart of a whistleblower lawsuit going after both the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet
She should be a hero.
and Quantum Solutions.
There's a failure to supervise these employees. There were obviously no checks and balances.
Kentucky State Police is on it. There are serious concerns, and we'll hold anybody accountable if they violated the law.
That's basically all Governor Andy Beshear would say as we pressed on this case in April. But there was a part of our interview that didn't make our prior report, and it may be important now.
Is there an immigration component to this?
Not that I'm aware of.
WDRB is fighting in court for the paper trail to be made public, uncovering who knew what and when. Sometimes the truth does hurt.
Is there an immigration component in this? I'm not sure. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Was this for illegal aliens? He doesn't know that. So yeah, folks, this is where you are. The United States of Epstein. The United States of Jeffrey Epstein. This is where you are today. This is where you are today. So they made sure that things for you is as difficult as possible. For illegals, the laws don't apply to them. It's basically, I'm white and I say so. They got I'm white and I say so privileges. They're talking about going after the illegals. Why are they not talking about going after this company Quantum and going and rounding everybody up? You got illegals out there picking the crops. Nobody's going and rounding up the folks who own those agribusinesses and hitting them with a RICO. Isn't this amazing? RICO suddenly doesn't exist for anyone except us and this year's so-called Democrats and Republicans. Everybody targets us. So stop being a fool and acting like this is a Democrat issue or Republican issue. It's a uniparty issue. Everybody's here for us. Everybody's targeting us. Everyone's targeting us, although there are some folks who don't understand. There are some people who do not understand. There are some people who do not get it. They don't get it because they don't want to get it. And one person in particular here is one Lieutenant Governor of the state of Virginia. Oh boy, oh winsome, lonesome Sears here. And she has been stomping for the hard right, for Trump. Basically, cooning it up the whole damn time is what she's been doing. And she thought she was finally going to get her payday. Thought she was finally going to go ahead and get the big payoff. You know, I got to say this right quick here. Coons and bootlicks, especially the ones who are lifelong coons and lifelong bootlicks, they've all got this cult, these cult eyes. None of them look like normal people. They all look like draftees to a cult. They all look like they came straight from the Jim Jones prayer meeting. The cult leader, not the rapper. They all look like that, wild-eyed and crazy looking, like they're on Quaaludes or something. Pupils won't dilate. They all look like that. They all just look real weird and cultish. They don't know. But by the way, you can just take a look at them. Why do all the coons look just real super cultish? Why do y'all look like you're members of a cult? Because you are. That's because you are. And the only people who don't realize it is you. Well, Winsome Sears is out here and she has her stump speech together. A stump speech together, and let me tell you, she is the very definition of what happens when you are dumb, when you are willfully ignorant, and when you sit up here and, pardon the expression, drink the Kool-Aid for white supremacy, and you tell yourself that you're one of their favorite Negroes, Negresses. It turns out like this. Now, this is from Fox News. They've been stomping super heavy to try to help her. It's not going to work. But they've been stomping real heavy to help her. And I want you to hear this. Now, this is fresh off the presses here, but I want you to hear what they have to say.
By now, we've seen how open borders, defund the police radicalism, and soft-on-crime prosecutors have turned once great American cities into shadows of their former selves. And we know President Trump and the Republican Party are fighting to take those cities back. In Virginia, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears is on the front lines. She's running for governor to continue the common sense policies Virginians have come to expect under Governor Glenn Youngkin. And as an immigrant from Jamaica, she's sounding the alarm on the rise of socialism in America.
For a decade now, people have asked and wondered, why is it that we have highlighted this thing when they keep bringing up the specifically among us, specifically among the descendants of the slaves. They specifically come among us, and they've been waving this banner about immigrants and making sure to explicitly distinguish that somebody is an immigrant. And then you saw them start stomping on it for the Olympics to make sure it's immigrant. The model minority thing. And then you saw them start spreading it out beyond just Asians and Middle Easterners. And so you see, if you all want to know why it is that our ears perked up years and years ago, here from this very microphone, I had programs I did about this going back to the very beginning. When I talked about African immigrants coming over here, how they were given preferential treatment, how they were making it very clear they saw themselves as different. I have programs going back to the very beginning of the Black Channel. And so in case anybody was thinking that it was just a fluke, or, well, Jason, y'all are making a issue of this, you all are making a point of this, but them other folk, the dominant society, isn't making an issue of it the way you all are. Yeah, they are. They always have. And here is your evidence, even at the 11th hour, that they're saying that this is what's important to them about her. You're not one of these corrupted Negroes. You're not one of these corrupted Negroes talking about being foundational and talking about descendants of the slaves and talking about freedmen. You're not one of them. You're not one of our historical troublemaker classes. You're an outsider. You don't come from our historical troublemaker lineage. Those people who have always made trouble for us and say things like white supremacy and historic generational racism, you're not one of those. So when they say the word immigrant, what they mean is wink, wink, hint, hint. She's not from that troublemaker lineage. She's grateful to us. Matter of fact, she loved white supremacy. She's an immigrant. She's not one of the natives. She's an immigrant. So don't worry, she's not a troublemaker. So of course, that's exactly what it means.
Common sense policies Virginians have come to expect under Governor Glenn Youngkin. And as an immigrant from Jamaica, she's sounding the alarm on the rise of socialism in America, warning what happens when a country trades freedom and prosperity for big government. We met up this week to talk about the battle for Virginia and why she believes this election will decide whether the Commonwealth stays on the path of strength and safety, or backslides into chaos. Well, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, so appreciate you sitting down with me. You actually are an immigrant here to America. You came to America from Jamaica at only 6 years old.
6 years old.
Tell me what you remember about.
Now, let me explain to you here the first part before I let her coon it up. By the way, when they start that thing there, boy, when they started up.
Well, Lieutenant Governor Winsome.
Oh, look at the coon grin. And she's got that Caribbean gap. What? No shade, no heat, don't come for me, but they got that Caribbean gap in the teeth. I don't know what it is about that, but that Caribbean gap in the teeth. So I could have told you. But beyond the hairline, y'all, when you see that gap in the teeth, oh, y'all folks from the Caribbean. How'd you know? I can just tell. But here's the issue here. You see, when the woman at Fox News starts banging on, you're an immigrant, you're an immigrant, you're an immigrant. No, folks, I'm not kidding about the gap. It is. That's a real thing. So for those of you who think I'm joking, nope, that's a real thing. It sure is. Yep, yeah, if they're from the Caribbean, you know, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Virgin Islands. Oh, you got the gap. Jamaica. Oh, there it is. There it is. If they haven't been to the orthodontist yet, they can't consider they haven't been to the orthodontist yet. In any case, when the Fox News interviewer there, Laura Trump sits up here and keeps banging on you being an immigrant, what she was supposed to do was downplay that. She was supposed to say, I'm a good American. She was supposed to say she black. She didn't do that. So you see, she thinks the winning strategy is to otherize herself. She thinks the winning strategy is to otherize herself. That's what she thinks. So instead of her stopping them, she let them keep going because she thinks that's the way to go. Here's the problem, ma'am. You are so sparse on support. You should have been spending the last decade getting black folk behind you. You thought you were going to win on white support. You have zero black support. Your Democrat opponent has the black support, and you are just looking like a crazy ass laughing stock right now. And we'll get to that here in just a moment. So we'll go ahead and let her make the case for herself, such as it is.
Sears, so appreciate you sitting down with me. You actually are an immigrant.
Yes.
Here to America. You came to America from Jamaica at only 6 years old.
6 years old.
Tell me what you remember about that transition. I know you were young, but how it's also shaped, the way you look at the United States.
My father came and got me when I was 6. Of course, he came to America with only the $1.75, I like to say 7 quarters, to restart his life.
Okay, so the usual penniless immigrant lie. They got that penniless immigrant stump. I built myself by my bootstraps. So we all know this is a lie at this point. This is the immigrant lie that they tell. But okay, because they know white folks want to hear that story. That's for white people's consumption. That's not for ours. That's for white folks' consumption because they know the lie that white society wants to hear. Oh, you're not like those lazy Negroes. Nope, I come here with nothing. How did you eat for the first week? I ate the dirt. I ate the dirt and the rocks. And it doesn't sound very nourishing. So the same old penniless lie.
But how it's also shaped, the way you look at the United States.
My father came and got me when I was 6. Of course, he came to America with only the $1.75, I like to say 7 quarters, to restart his life. And he could have gone to England because it was easier, but he thought, no, America will give him that second chance. And coming off that Pan American plane, just to see the America represented, this grandeur. I mean, America, in Jamaica, we say America is a big, big America because everything in America is big. And the music is, the smell of the country is different.
So she started plugging into our culture and our lineage there, y'all. So soon as she had to talk about what it was that made America great, you saw the first thing she had to plug into. So, yeah, she jumped off that real quick. Oh, damn.
That Pan American plane, just to see the America represented, this grandeur. I mean, America, In Jamaica, we say America is a big, big America because everything in America is big. And the music is, the smell of the country is different. And then there I was, restarting my life.
Your father came here to America with $1.75 in his pocket. That's it.
Yeah.
You must have learned a lot about hard work from him. I assume that it's probably translated into your leadership style as well.
Well, yeah, you know, what are you going to do with $1.75? You're at the bottom. So you're going to take any job you can find. He had 3 jobs, sometimes 4 jobs at a time, because he needed that money to start school. And if he started when it was a bad time for us, admittedly, it was the height of the civil rights movement, then what excuse do I have?
Well, I love that as an immigrant.
Okay, glad that you pointed out when he came over here, so you need to show some respect to the foundation because our work ethic was what made it possible for him to even be able to come over here. He was supposed to go to the British Commonwealth. Now, he was supposed to go to the British Commonwealth that they bow and scrape to this very day. In Jamaica, he was supposed to come there, but it wasn't really working out. So he said, man, look here, them niggas over there, they got it going. They made a real nice cushy spot, man. Let me get up over there. And then look what kind of daughter he raised. If you want to know what kind of jackalope Jamaican ass kisser he was, take a look at the daughter he raised. The fruit did not fall far from the tree. Take a look at what he raised.
Grant, you are so proudly American.
Oh, yeah.
That must be, it must give you a different perspective than so many people who were born here in America. What is it that you appreciate so much about this country?
That you...
Did you hear how she snuck that in? This must give you a whole different perspective from those who were born here. So you see that one. You're not like the Negroes who were born here that we owe. Those malcontents that we owe things to. You're not troublesome like them. Why don't you tell everybody about how much you kiss our white supremacist asses? Because you're so much better than them.
That must be, it must give you a different perspective than so many people who were born here in America. What is it that you appreciate so much about this country?
That you can speak your mind. My dad sent me back home when I was 9, and by then a new prime minister had come to power, and he declared that Jamaica was a socialist country. If you had land, it belonged to the government now. Your profits, if you were a business, were no longer your own. It was treacherous. And in fact, so many Jamaicans fled because there was no freedom. There was no liberty.
Lie. They're still fleeing to this day. But the problem with that lie you just told is that they're still fleeing to this day. They didn't start and then stopped. They were fleeing before, they were fleeing during, they've been fleeing ever since. So there's the lie there. So you all have to understand, when you talk to white supremacists, as Dr. John Henry Clark told us, they believe in trading in lies. Everyone knows that they're saying a lie. This is the script that they, swap with each other. Just so they can make sure that you stay on script. But this is the script that they swap with each other. So she's telling them that lie. And of course, their job is, oh, see, they're so much better over here. You white folks here are so much better.
It was treacherous. And in fact, so many Jamaicans fled.
First of all, treacherous. Does she mean, was that a cross between treacherous and incredulous? Treacherous?
Business were no longer your own. It was treacherous. And in fact...
Okay, y'all, her mouth is moving faster than her brain is. All right.
In fact, so many Jamaicans fled because there was no freedom. There was no liberty. There was violence everywhere, political violence. And that's what I love about America. Liberty, freedom. So I'm always willing to tell you what I think. And you're either going to vote for me or you're not. But we can't lose that in America.
Does it worry you that you have someone who could potentially become the mayor of New York City
who is a democratic socialist, having seen what you saw as a child?
I left that so-called Democrat socialism in Jamaica. It doesn't work because after a while, we had no money. We had no jobs created. I saw economic policies where you went to the grocery store and you were limited in how many of a thing you could buy. But that's amazing to me that we are now playing with someone in New York who has self-declared that he's a socialist and everything's going to be free. Free groceries, free rent, free. And then what? And who pays for this? So this.
All right, let me explain to you what's the problem here. This woman is supposed to be running for governor of the state of Virginia. She's supposed to be running for governor of Virginia. She's gotten on Fox News, and Fox is asking her about a mayor's race, not even a governor's race, a mayor's race in New York. So tell me you're being used as a tool without telling me you're being used as a tool. They're not asking her about Virginia issues. They're asking her about national issues like she's Trump or something. Or what the hell does that have to do with Virginia? So this isn't helping her in Virginia. There's nobody in Virginia who wants to hear her opine about New York. And Laura either don't get it or she figures Fox News audience doesn't care about what's happening in New York. Why don't we ask about a real state? Like, you know, Fox News viewers don't care about what's happening in Virginia. Let's ask about a real state like New York. And you see what the hell the problem is? So these are the folk who are supposed to be helping her, and they're not helping.
This is crazy. I don't even have words to describe. You cannot do socialism right.
At a very young age, at 18 years old, you decided to become a United States Marine. And at the time, that was not something, Lieutenant Governor, that a lot of women did. So what made you go down the path to become a U.S. Marine?
I graduated from high school early. I wanted to be an international attorney. Then my grandmother died in July of that year, and I was devastated. If there was anyone in the world that I knew loved me, it was my grandmother. And so when I went back to Jamaica,
I'm not being disrespectful
I looked at her
either.
in a casket and I thought, what is the point of life? And I even said to my mother, I'm just going to stay in Jamaica and die. And so she said, I've got some rules if you're going to stay here and die. You got to come in by a certain time. You got to do this and this. And, you know, she's just reeling off rules. And I thought, I'm going back to America because.
Okay, so my mom said that there are rules you got to be in by a certain time. I'm going back to America because I don't want to follow any rules. I'm just going to tell y'all right now, that sounds like somebody was in them streets. Another Caribbean story. Don't come for me. If she come from the Caribbean, she was in them streets, fellas. Just go ahead and just let that be what it is. Make peace with that. But yeah, that sounds like 18 years old and told her mama that she doesn't want to, I want to do what I want to do. What do you want to do that what your mama said was unreasonable? And she like, look here, I want to get hoed up for a few years here. So yeah, them traditional values.
So she said, I've got some rules if you're going to stay here and die. You got to come in by a certain time. You got to do this. And, you know, she's just reeling off rules. And I thought, I'm going back to America because nobody tells me what to do in America. She just happened to have a Jet magazine on her coffee table. And so I picked it up and it fell open. The few, the proud, the Marines. I thought, yes, they are going to give me a reason to live.
She happened to have a Jet magazine. Mama used to have a Jet magazine. All right, just remember where you got the game from all the way around. So the next time folks ask you whose culture, who's got a culture, what have you built? We built y'all. We built y'all by her own admission. We built you. We built you. By her own admission. She wasn't reading Bob Marley Weekly. Built you.
The proud, the Marines. I thought, yes, they are going to give me a reason to live. They are going to give me the discipline I need to get up every morning and have purpose.
And that must have really impacted the way you looked at this country, too, to be.
Isn't that a disgusting commentary to say about your own parents, that your parents didn't give you any discipline? Your daddy, who was such a hard work. Folks, what 18-year-old goes around looking for, quote, discipline? They just don't quit lying. Kamala Harris. Damn! You want to talk about that Caribbean culture? Kamala Harris. I want freedom. Now this heifer here is lying too. I was 18 years old. I joined the Marines because, they'll give me some discipline. What the hell 18-year-old is looking for strict military discipline? You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds more to me like her mama said, you a little too hot in the draws out here in Nassau. You a little bit too hot in the draws out here in them streets. Your ass is getting out. You ain't gonna have no more of these flagrant bum niggas coming to my house smoking weed and getting in trouble. Your ass is going out. It sounds like that's what happened. Her mother gave her the you getting out. You grown enough to sit up here and be slutting up. You got to go. And she said, Mama, where am I going? She said, I don't give a damn where you going. You can't stay here. So it sounds more like that. Now that makes a lot more sense than this bullcrap story she trying to pass off. Well, I just told you all, I think you all would agree that makes more sense. If it makes more sense to you all, give me the thumbs up emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 1,600 people in here live tonight. And if you are new here, do not subscribe. Do not press the notification bell button until the end of the program. If by the end of the program you feel like you've heard a lot here that's added to your week and has informed you on a level you haven't been before, don't press any of those buttons right now. Wait till the end of the program. See if we've earned the right to get that from you.
Be able to serve this country, you were fighting for something much bigger than yourself.
Any military service that you join or law enforcement, there's a family, a new family, and you have each other's back, but you learn that as soon as you get the order, you're going, because lives are at stake. Your country is at stake. You go. And if you're going to serve, let me tell you, it's going to mean sacrifice. And if you're going to sacrifice, there's suffering involved.
People, what war zone did she serve in? I'm asking for a friend. She's talking about serving, and there's going to be sacrifice, and there's going to be what suffering did she do? What war zone did she serve in? I'm asking for a friend. Somebody tell me about that. What combat did Winsome Sears see? Because she talking like she was damn me Rambo. She's talking like she was damn me airdropped in the middle of Vietnam, in Iraq, in the swamp. And then she was eating bugs for 6 weeks with a bandana tied around her head like Red Sonja or something. So what combat exactly did she see? Because she's talking like she was roughing it and that she was with damn me SEAL Team 7, damn SEAL Team 6. She's talking like she was with SEAL Team 7. I mean, other than getting passed around from one tent to another, I'm not talking about the service that she served up under her fellow Marines. What? I'm talking about combat. I'm talking about that. Because when some folks say physical training, not the same physical training. So I'm talking about that. What combat did she see? While she's talking as if she had to survive for years on end. Where was she at? Which platoon in Thought Team 6 was she serving in?
So, but that's for your whole life, because what is life without service?
You're obviously running for governor of Virginia. You have been a huge proponent of putting parents in charge of their children's education. How do you continue with
a 9-minute piece? She doesn't ask about anything even remotely concerning Virginia until 3 minutes before the piece is over. 3 minutes before this thing is over, that's when Laura Trump finally asks something that is tangentially connected to, I don't know, the state the woman's trying to run for governor in. But it gets a little bit worse there, folks. It gets a little bit worse. I'm going to let this play because there's something in particular I want you to hear.
the current governor started? How do you plan to advocate for parents and let them be in charge of their children's education?
I've famously said we don't co-parent with government. So I like to make sure that parents are in charge, and I'm going to help you to remain in charge, because for me, again, I've seen it in other countries where the government comes in. So this is always going to be about liberty. The first teachers of a child are the child's parents. And then, of course, we have education formally. And my opponent, Abigail Spanberger, has voted against the Parents' Rights Act, parents understanding what's being taught. I'm going to make sure that you're the parent all the time, 24/7, as we like to say. It's about your freedom, your liberty, and your child's freedom.
You've promised to be tough on crime. You've also been very outspoken against sanctuary cities. So what is your plan, if elected governor of Virginia, to make sure that you keep your citizens here safe?
I believe that the first role of a governor is to do exactly that. Safety and security. If your child can't walk down the street, I can't talk about education because there's no safety there.
Okay, where are the other so-called immigrants to complain? She's against sanctuary cities. Where are the other immigrants to complain about it? I'm waiting. I haven't heard the hue and cry yet, so where are they at, y'all?
Right? We're not, again, now going to create sanctuary cities. Why would we give sanctuary to those who are criminally, illegally here? Not on my watch. And by the way, my opponent, Abigail Spanberger, has voted for sanctuary cities. She voted against a safe and secure border. We have found right here in Virginia the #3 leader of MS-13 in my opponent's backyard. And she voted against the Lake and Riley Act, which simply said, if you're criminally legally here, you got to go home, because you said you came for an opportunity, but you're taking that opportunity to prey on the rest of us. So no, you can't be here.
Current polling shows you needing to make up some ground to surpass your opponent in this race to become the next governor of Virginia. What do your next several months look like in order to make that happen?
Okay, so what they're saying here is that, by the way, you're behind in the polls. And people, by behind, we don't mean she's a little behind. In the polls, she way back there. Don't worry, we'll get to that here in just a moment.
Those polls are lying left and right. She is on record as saying that this is a toss-up race. Have you heard the media, mainstream, say anything like that? No, they say that I'm 10, 12 points down. They're tacitly helping her. How? Because they figure people will say, well, Woodson is too far down. There's no way she can win. The mainstream media lies like that. I don't understand it. We're going to win, and we'll see what the media does after that.
So basically, she's in the Donald Trump playbook. It doesn't matter what things say. Just go ahead and just talk stupid and just say whatever your reality is, that's the reality. We're just going to go ahead and say whatever you want the reality to be, that is what the reality is. And everybody else just needs to figure out how to fall in line. Well, there are just a few problems with that. And I want to get into that with you here because Politico had an article that they did here last month, and I want to introduce you to something here, and this is in keeping with our topic here tonight. This is in keeping with this because there's a lot to learn, and Miss Sears is going to learn a lesson from this as well. She's going to learn a lesson from this as well. talks about here with her campaign far behind in polling and fundraising, and this was last month. Virginia gubernatorial nominee Winsome Earl Sears is set to announce staff changes later this week. A recent poll from Virginia Commonwealth University has her trailing Democrat Abigail Spanberger by double digits. Damn! 49% to 37%. And folks, this was last month. This is July 22nd last month. So it's been almost a month, and her numbers are no better. The latest campaign finance report also shows the Spanberger with a significant fundraising advantage between June 6th and June 30th. Spanberger raised $4.2 million and had more than $15 million on hand, whereas Earl Sears raised only $2.3 million in that same period. Her campaign has $4.5 million cash on hand as of July 15th. Now, folks, you gotta ask yourselves a question. How did we get here? How did the favorite little, chocolate-covered coonist delight end up in this? How did the Candace Owens of Virginia politics end up in this mess? How did that happen? Yeah, I know she's Republican, but to be getting your ass beat this bad, how exactly did this occur? Well, there's actually a very logical explanation for it. She worked for it. She worked hard for it. Jason, what do you mean? Well, the facts are on the ground. It says here, on top of the personnel shakeups, she got rid of some folk in her campaign, Earl Sears has run into controversy. Earlier this year, the Earl Sears campaign blasted a fundraising email comparing DEI to American slavery.
Oh, please.
Where she remarked, quote, "Slaves did not die in the fields so that we could call ourselves victims now in 2025. Look here, you bug-eyed heifer. Which slaves are you referring to? Because you're not even from here. So even if you want to talk about slaves in Jamaica, that doesn't apply to North America. So you need to speak on where you're from. Since neither of your parents, and by the way, couldn't help but notice dad over here, mom over there. By the way, dad came over here and mom was still back there. We're going to leave that alone for a minute, but I just wanted to say, by the way, your daddy came over here, but your mama stayed back. Okay, something a little bit odd there, but okay. But here she is trying to speak for us, and this is why it became imperative that we distinguish ourselves and delineate, because they bring over butt-kissing, butt-sucking Manchurian candidate Trojan horses like this, and she claims to speak for us with no one stopping to say, by the way, you are not a descendant of American slaves. You see, the slavery component is essential, people, because you'll have individuals trying to claim our lineage and claim that slavery don't matter. No. To remind you, ma'am, you are not a descendant of American slaves. So how are you going to speak for something you're not a descendant of? Where there was slavery in Jamaica. This is not Jamaica. And if slavery didn't affect Jamaica, what the hell are you doing over here? If slavery was so bad in Jamaica, well, then I guess it did. But of course, none of these white outlets, including your so-called left-wing ones, none of them are going to go into this. So, yeah, she tried to go full Trump. DEI is like American slavery. And then she says, so slaves did not die in the field so that we, who the hell is we, heifer? Just because you was hustling them draws back in Jamaica, it might have felt like slavery, but that does not mean it was. And I mean that maximum disrespect. Goes on to say here, last week, a publication called Dogwood released an audio clip of Earl Sears in which she appeared to acknowledge the cuts to the federal workforce negatively impacting her standing with voters, telling supporters that she and Spanberger were, quote, neck and neck before her Democratic opponent brought up Doge repeatedly and began opening up a lead. Northern Virginia is home to a lot of federal workers who were targeted by Doge, and in March, the progressive Midas Touch Network released a different recording in which Earl Sears appeared to be downplaying the severity of the Doge cuts. This is called being out of touch. Up there in Canada, the fellow who was aspiring to be prime minister got his legs cut out from up under him. They were all supporting Trump, and as soon as Trump got into a good position, he took positions that were absolutely poisonous for the rest of them, and they were all hooked at the hip to him. They were all hooked at the hip to him. So you got to understand, Winsome Sears has a very long track record of being one of these black wannabe white conservatives. She's got a very long track record of being that. And I wanted to point out to you what they do here. So they've weaponized the immigrant thing. They've weaponized that. And they want to make sure that they got that in there. They want to make sure they got that in there. So they only use that as a tagline to say, this Negro's safe. They're not a troublemaker. But when you go back over her track record, she has a consistent record of doing that Herman Cain garbage. And do you know what the effect of that has been, Miss Sears? The effect of it is you have no support and no base. You look like a wild-eyed black kid who hung out with the white supremacist children your whole life, watching the Brady Bunch and Leave It to Beaver. And in Virginia, baby, you need black support in Virginia. You got to have black support and black backing in Virginia. When they talk about, quote, federal workers, those are black folk. The Civil Rights Act, so-called affirmative action, the only thing they gave black folk for was government jobs and government positions. So you see, a lot of those are black folk, ma'am. You on the wrong side of every damn thing. Culturally, socially, politically, you don't have anything. And you spent the better part of the last decade making enemies of the very folk that you need to be in good with right now. See, she needs to be able to move amongst the people. She needs to be able to talk to the soil. She's sitting there talking to Laura damn Trump, who her daddy has made sure his own damn party isn't going to make it out of this election cycle. So this is what happens, folks. When I say it's like a cult, it's like a suicide pact. And she sat there with them the whole damn time, did not talk to black people, did not make the landscape any better, didn't do a damn thing, and this is where she ends up at. They promised her life would be good. They promised her you ain't like the others. And she promised herself, I don't have to talk to any of you. Now she's running for governor and the bill has come due. There aren't enough brainwashed coons and fellow coonified immigrants to save you. There's not enough. There never were enough. Not gonna be enough next year. And you just got a couple more months before the election. So it's over. Effectively, it's not gonna get better. And the moral to this story is that you should have spent the better part of the last decade talking to the soil, but here's the problem. You can't talk to people you don't identify with. You can't do that. And yes, I am going to beat this. I'm going to beat this like a witch doctor beating this nigga's skull over here. He's hanging on the wall. What? That couldn't help but notice Kamala Harris has the same disease. Yeah, Byron Donalds down there in Florida. Oh, man. Well, that flipped quickly now, didn't it? Yeah, Byron Donalds down there in Florida, that went south fast, didn't it? That didn't take any time. Grand opening, grand closing. But when you take a look at these folks from Kamala Harris to Winsome Sears to whoever else you want to name here, they got taken into the back room. No diddy. This time. And they got told, we're going to elevate you because you're not like the other niggers. And they sat there and said, oh, yeah, you sure right there. You sure right. I ain't like them. You sure right. And then they find out what the reality is. You have no power base of your own. You have no power base of your own. You have nothing to draw off of. This is all you got left, and you're looking bug-eyed and crazy. You have no people to draw on, and you lied to yourself and told yourself that you would replace black support with non-black support from the four winds, and now you found out that's not going to work either. That's not going to work either. Yeah, she was Fox News' delight for a little bit, and you heard how they started off banging on that. You know, you're an immigrant. You're one of the good Negroes. You ain't like these damn troublemaking damn descendants of slaves over here, and you ain't like them. Okay. And is Laura Trump going to be there to wipe your tears when it all comes crumbling down? They didn't tell you that. Now, folks, otherwise, I'd be handling this a little bit different, but I got to do things a little bit different here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a commercial, non-commercial break. I'm going to take a commercial, non-commercial break because you see, I got something I need to touch on here. I've got a lot of invoices that I'm going to have to pull in order for me to do this. Got a lot of invoices I'm going to have to pull. I got them lined up and ready, but it's going to take me a little bit of time to go ahead and slice this and dice this properly. So I want you all to strap in for that part of it. So I'm just going to let you know when we come back from this, I got a bunch of invoices to pull because we're going to make a point here tonight. Just in case anybody thought we weren't paying attention, we're going to make a point here tonight. So we're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. Before we do, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to Sharaya. Thank you very much for your support tonight. We appreciate that. To Mr. Richburg, to Mogul Mays, Logic Before Emotion, Antonio. Shout out here to Keenan and everybody else here tonight. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When I come back, I got a line of invoices that I got to deliver to you all. We're going to do that. So get your pens and your notepads ready. And if you didn't bring your blood pressure medication, you better, because folks are out here spending on a damn dime to redeem themselves. This is the Black Channel.
Did you know hip-hop is more than just music? It's a movement shaping the places we live, work, and grow. Rap Estate, hip-hop's influence on housing, community, and neighborhood development dives deep into how this powerful culture has become a force for change. From its roots in urban neighborhoods to its global impact, discover how artists like Public Enemy and Jay-Z use lyrical storytelling to spotlight issues like gentrification, economic justice, and affordable housing. This groundbreaking book uncovers the stories, struggles, and solutions inspired by hip-hop, turning beats and rhymes into blueprints for real change. Ready to see how hip-hop is rebuilding communities and empowering lives? Get your copy of Rap Estate today and join the movement.
Be the teacher, knowledge on the block. Got the kids learning, minds open like a lock. Books and skills from the east to the west. Bringing education, yeah, we're simply the best. Classes on fire, brains burning with desire. Innovation driving like a tire through the mire. Math, science, history, we got the whole range. Kids hitting new heights, teachers making a change. Used to be the teacher, stacking up the grades. Future bright shining, no need for no shades. Got the youth thriving, moving up the ladder. Smart and sharp, brains growing fatter. Lessons so lit, yeah, they stay in a blaze. Every mind sharp like a sword in the haze. Mr. be in the house breaking knowledge chains. Education kingpin, we repping the gains. Listen, be the teacher.
The Honey Badger and the Mongoose is a children's story for the family of how a honey badger and mongoose fight an evil alliance of venomous cobra snakes and hyenas that overhauls the balance of the savannah. The Big Five. The honey badger demands reparations. Will the Big Five give the honey badger reparations? Can the evil alliance of cobras and hyenas be stopped? The best new price for the hard and soft cover is at www.thehoneyBadgerandthemongoose.com. You can also find this book at Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And folks, in keeping with tonight's topic about the immigrant takeover here, it would not be complete without reminding you about something here, because you see, rolling the bowling ball here, and there's a reason why I got to beat on this, because I need to make sure that people stay reminded, they get reminded, and they stay reminded. If we do not keep this at the forefront of people's minds, what happens is people come to the internet, they're new all the time. People from Gen Y and Gen Alpha, millennials, they're getting older, and a lot of them never even heard of him. So they may stumble across him, and if they don't have somebody out there who has already dissected this, they'll think that this is an honest broker. And they won't know what the track record is. Well, Jason, what are you getting at here? People, I'm here to announce to you that Roland has apparently officially given up on staying in the good graces of one Barack Hussein Obama? What? Oh, Roland has decided this is it. He's not waiting around any bit more. He is not waiting to see if he can redeem anything here. So Roland has decided that, oh man, he's going to channel his inner Jason Black now, and it's time for Obama to get the business. And I don't mean that lightly, folks. So I told you this was going to happen. I told you it was going to go this way. I told you it was. What's happening is folks are not, returning his phone calls. They're not returning his phone calls. He did this program here, and you can turn your eyes to your screen there. As you can see, this is the program that he did. That's right. Fair use, Butterball, fair use. Roland pulls the receipts on Obama's failed strategy that cost Democrats 1,000 seats.
Damn!
Yes, sir. Old Roland has said, look here, if I'm on the outside, damn it, I'm going to be all the way on the outside. So he is cutting up. He is cutting up and nutting up. Now, I'm going to start this a little bit earlier here so you can see Obama was just sitting up here babbling. And you know what happens when you're a feckless lying coward? You go all the way gray. He doesn't even look like the same damn person anymore. but you recognize those coony ears. I want to play this for you, and then I want you to hear what Roland had to say.
Is not a given. It's not self-executing. It requires us to fight for it. It requires us to stand up for
it. You know, Matt, it's a little hard for me to hear President Obama say, we got complacent. See, I know black folks love this from Obama, but no, he got complacent. More than 1,000 state seats were lost during his 8 years. The DNC was not strong. Obama for America supplanted the DNC. And the redistricting effort that he's been working on with Eric Holder, that was launched after he left office. Let's be real clear. Rahm Emanuel, when he was Obama's chief of staff, would often deride progressives saying, I'm sick of them talking about the Supreme Court. Right there was a problem. Rahm Emanuel, James Carville, Paul Baglia were critical of Howard Dean for having a 50-state strategy. They wanted to focus on national. So when Obama says we, he got to look in the mirror. And we got to be willing to actually offer that critique because we were all there and we saw it. And a lot of us were saying, don't ignore the states. Stop focusing on national. That's exactly what happened.
Nigga, what? Nigga, what?
Yeah, y'all. Roland Martin is here to let you all know that why he was critical of Obama the whole time. Let y'all know, y'all just think he was critical the whole time. Things were going bad the entire time, and yeah, he knew that was the issue. The past 20 damn years, you couldn't get him to say a damn thing right there when he showed up. Here's the point, people. Roland has made some minor critiques of Obama, nibbling around the edges. That is not what we need. When Barack Obama made it very clear that he was not going to move on anything for black folk, you were supposed to be talking about him in the exact same tone, with the exact same words, and the exact same fire and brimstone that you're breathing down on Donald Trump today. And anybody who did not give Obama that energy when he was in office, when you saw what happened with Trayvon Martin, with Eric Garner, when you saw what was happening then, that was the time to bring down holy hellfire. Right then, we didn't need nothing else. When we saw that, it was done. And for those of us who were broadcasting back then, our programs sound radically different from anything that was going on the bowling balls end of things. But then again, I wasn't waiting for a phone call from Obama or the DNC to invite me on, and I wasn't taking no kickbacks under the table neither. So you see, my program sounded radically different. But Roland sounded exactly the same. And if you were not calling Obama out the same way you're calling Trump out now, if you were not using the same tone, the same words, because they're both equally as evil and duplicitous, if you weren't doing it then you are fraudulent and illegitimate and a liar. And Roland, now, y'all have to understand something here. You see, what's happening is that there's an old saying, success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan. And Obama has failed. Obama has failed. No one is expecting him to make any type of comeback. He's failed. And as a result, now that Obama has become a failure and is universally recognized as a failure and now irrelevant, now all the rats, now that they're certain that he can't do anything for them, now they're finally gonna jump ship. Now they're finally making their way off the ship, now that there's nothing else for them to grift or gain. After all these decades of holding him up and puffing him up, now they're going to do it. Now. Oh, and folks, that's not it. Oh, I know old Roland right now, boy, he is sitting there. I mean, stress eating right now. How much did Jason watch on my program? Damn, I thought he was going to be busy this weekend. Let me call Uber Eats. So yeah, Roland was upset. Like to tell you he was done, but he wasn't, because there was more to say here. He had another one that he put out. There was more to say. And he's talking about some of these other folk. I want you to listen to this, how he segues into this next part here. I want you to listen to this, how he segues into that.
How much money are they raising? Do I have boots on the ground? Do I have district offices, and who's doing it? That's a plan of action. See, some of y'all, I see y'all comments. Some of y'all so mad that I critiqued Obama because y'all think Obama is right behind Jesus when you have to.
What? And you didn't? You've been chief ass kisser for the last 20 years. Now he's trying to reinvent himself. See, y'all act like Obama is second to Jesus, like you haven't for the last 2 damn decades. When Roland Martin spoke to Obama face to face, did Roland Martin lay down the heat? Hell no. So y'all got to understand, the rats are attempting to jump off the ship. And I was never supporting Obama like that. I was always on Obama's bumper. The rest of y'all is Obama ass kissers. See, that's the problem right there. The rest of y'all really? Oh, man.
Boots on the ground. Do I have district offices, and who's doing it? That's a plan of action. See, some of y'all, I see y'all comments. Some of y'all so mad that I critiqued Obama because y'all think Obama is right behind Jesus when you have to acknowledge that he made crucial mistakes that again affected him, but he impacted Democrats down ballot. So now how do you now restore this? And so here's what I would say. Here's how you restore this, folks. Before we even get started, Roland Martin only has one suggestion to make to anybody anywhere. Roland Martin's only suggestion to anyone, if you ask Roland Martin what's wrong with anything, y'all know he only has one answer to literally everything. And that's it. The answer is pass the damn plate. Preferably to him. So he's saying, hey, I figured out what y'all need to do. And I'm like, okay, I think we all know where this is gonna go. So he's trying to give Obama problems. And he said, I know what needs to happen. I'm like, okay, I think all of us can tell you exactly what comes next. That he made crucial mistakes that again affected him, but he impacted Democrats down ballot. So now how do you now restore this? And so here's what I would say. President Obama, why don't you go forth and begin to say, I'm going to raise $10 million, $20 million in order to help Democrats win back the Texas House.
Did I call it? Or did I call it? Now, by the way, Roland is from Texas, doesn't live there, but he's from there. So when he says $10 million to take back the Texas House, you know that's what he's saying is, by the way, you need somebody to do media outreach. So you need to call me, because I is the bootleg black media. So we all know where this goes. You need to spend $10 million, and if you're really smart, you'll give me a couple million of it so that we can take back the Texas house.
How about that? How about you literally go down to mobilize and organize to do that? See, that's what I'm talking about here. See, and Cameron, too many of us don't want to say that. Too many of us don't want to challenge leadership on that. And I'm saying that's what you have to do. But it's you not going to do it by just doing a video conference saying, oh, we got to keep trying. No, you actually, here's what happened.
When did Roland Martin challenge Obama on a damn thing when Obama was in office? Back when it would have counted? Folks, for those of us who were here a decade ago, we were the only ones doing this. Roland Martin was telling us, shut up. And that we had to vote blue no matter who. If we had sent Obama down in flames in 2012, do you realize how much further along we would be today? But remember, this was back, what we found out later was by the time Hillary Clinton runs, because remember, her and Obama got together, put their heads together to conspire specifically against black folk, specifically against the descendants of the slaves, specifically against us. They got together and said, don't give them anything. If they ask you about anything, tell them you sympathize, tell them that you feel their pain, but do not make any specific promises. Now, to everybody else, you can make specific promises, not them niggas. And Roland Martin did not give a damn about any of that so long as he thought there was going to be something carved off specifically for him. He was okay with that as long as he thought he was going to get something specifically for himself. That was all he was looking for. But I want to go a little bit further here because I want y'all to see some of the games that get played here. I want y'all to see some of the games that get played and some of the stuff that they do. Because Roland's not done yet, and I want to take this as an opportunity to put it in proper perspective.
What happened to the whole database, Cameron, Obama for America? Where did it go? Where did those people go? There were millions of people who had signed up for where did they go? You have to mobilize and organize. I'll give Bernie Sanders credit. When he lost, he took his database and he converted that into our revolution. Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. told me this year. He said that, Roland, the greatest mistake that my dad did after the 1988 campaign is that he did not weaponize his database. Here he had all of these volunteers, these workers, these donors, and he did not take that and then create a lasting political operation that could help candidates down the road. Cameron, that's called planning.
No, that's called cooning.
And deal with it, nigga.
Now I'll explain why. First of all, let me go ahead and take a moment here to go ahead and revisit that. Since he brought up Messy Jesse Jackson, I'd like to take an opportunity to go ahead and revisit that. Since he brought him up. Now, folks, so you can be very, very clear about this for those of us who were there. And now you have the hindsight of 2020 and your knowledge of the full comprehension of American politics. Jesse Jackson was not in it for the rest of us. Jesse Jackson was in it for himself. Operation Breadbasket, Rainbow Coalition. He had hustles, nonprofit hustles all over the damn place. And Dr. King had a number of grifters and panhandlers and glad handlers around him. I said it. And as we all know, Jesse was one of those. So you see, going into the 80s there, Jesse was there to see if he can get as much as he could out of it. Which is what that was all about, was to demonstrate to the party that he was willing to overturn the status quo if they didn't give him what he wanted to, or at least make big trouble because he never thought he was going to overturn it. You can go to PBS Frontline, though, by the way, if you'd like to see more about that. Why didn't Jesse Jackson weaponize his database for future candidates? That's because old bastards like Messy Jesse, they're not gonna do anything unless it's for himself. So he was never going to put his database to use for anyone other than him. He put that in his back pocket for his benefit. That was his leverage with the Democrat Party. If he turns it over to somebody else, well, you're making that their leverage. No, he wanted that to be his so that he could hold it over their heads. Tell them that he was sitting on all this political capital that he could use either to run for president again or to put pressure on the party to give him and his son special treatment. Jason, you just making that up. You just exaggerating. That ain't never happened. Y'all just be creating and concocting things. They wasn't doing none of that. Oh, really? See, this is why you have to have a black media that reminds you of these things. Because you see, let me remind you. See, Jesse and his son, they was sitting on slamming plenty of Cadillac doors and stacking up hoes.
And deal with it, nigga.
Oh, am I making it up? Oh, if you think I was just being hyperbolic or exaggerating, or Jason, you're just being incendiary, something like that. No! Didn't Jesse Jackson use the money they got? What they use it for? Well, I can show you. But first of all, my people up in Chicago, y'all lived with it for 4 decades. My people in Chicago got to see on ground zero what was happening. They was doing that for decades. Decades. That was nothing new. Everybody knew the damn deal. Everybody did. But Jason, did you bring receipts? I don't bring receipts. I bring invoices. What? From the New York Post. You all can go Google this article right here. You see the title of it. You can go Google this article right here from the New York Post. If you'd like to, it's available for you. Don't run now. Don't get scared now. Oh, Jesse Jackson's mistress is writing a tell-all. This was back in 2001. Now, this was back in 2001. In case you were wondering, this was back then. Oh, man. A whole bunch of Democrat ass kissers, their bodies just hit the floor right about now. The mother of Jesse Jackson's love child. Damn! Is penning a tell-all book that claims that she received a secret payoff of $450,000 from the civil rights leader, a new report says. People, if they have dirt on you, they gonna put it out there. You won't have to get Donald Trump to unseal any files. If the FBI actually had something on Dr. King or Malcolm X, it would have been out decades ago. That's how you know they lying and just stringing you along. If they actually had the goods, they would have put it out decades ago. They would have had them on the leash decades ago. If they actually had it. All they can really do is make up a bunch of rumors and innuendo and wait for gullible people or white supremacists to run with it. But if they had any evidence, they would have put it out decades ago. In Jesse Jackson's case, they're like, oh, nigga, we got the goods on you. Ex-mistress Corinne Stanford, not to be confused with Corinne Steffens. What? Damn! Also reveals that to prove Jackson was the father of her 22-month-old daughter, she froze a condom containing his sperm, the National Enquirer says in its upcoming issue. Folks, where's Drake when you need him? Damn! Where's Drake when you need him? It says that the book also alleges before giving birth to their child, Corinne was pregnant by Jesse a previous time, but had an abortion at his request. Now, isn't this the Reverend Jesse Jackson? This is the Reverend Jesse Jackson now, isn't it? And the Reverend Jesse Jackson, when he heard that life had been cultivated in this woman here, that God has chosen life, Jesse said, I choose abortion. So what she's letting you know is that, by the way, this was not the first time I got pregnant by him. So what did Jesse say? And here's the crazy part. She froze a condom with his sperm. Far as I can tell, Jesse don't like condoms, ma'am. Why did you have to freeze a condom with his sperm? Because so far as I can tell, he don't like condoms. Clearly he doesn't. After learning of the affair, Jackson's wife, Jackie, was so angry that she pointed a gun at him. Damn! In their Chicago home and had to be restrained by a guest. So yeah, the Democrat Party's like, oh, we don't have to sink his political career. We already got the dirt on him. We already know all this, so it's just Jesse in them streets. That's the kind of reverend that we want to promote. That's the kind of, quote, reverend that we want to promote in the Democrat Party. No wonder they liked him so much. But folks, he was able to throw her 450,000 of them things. And you think he was gonna do something? You want to know what he did with his database and his list of contributors and supporters? This is what he did. Right here. This is what he did. Oh, am I saying too damn much? Am I upsetting too many people here? Okay. Am I? Oh man, you're probably not going to like this neither then. Oh hell, you're not going to like this next part either. Damn! Los Angeles Times 2001, baby, when it rains it pours. You can go Google this headline too if you want to. Jackson Charity. You know those charities that the Democrats had him, these nonprofits where you sit up here and launder this money. Jackson Charity reportedly gave lover money for a house. So you see, the rest of you might not be able to afford a house, but don't worry, Jesse and his hoes do. Dateline Chicago. One of the Reverend Jesse Jackson's numerous tax-exempt charities gave his mistress money to help her buy a Los Angeles area home, according to correspondence. Folks, a home in LA back in 2001. A September 10th, 1999 letter from a top Jackson staffer to Corinne Stanford, the former head of the Rainbow Push Coalition's Washington office, approves a payment of $40,000 from Jackson's Citizenship Education Fund. The money is deemed a, quote, draw against future consulting work Stanford planned to do and was, quote, for the purpose of acquiring residential real estate financing. Stanford, who first caught Jackson's attention with a scholarly book, I bet she did. I bet she did. Stanford, who first caught Jackson's attention with a scholarly book about his impact on foreign affairs, gave birth to their daughter in May 1999. Let's hear it for Prince. Jackson, Prince, who has been married 38 years, acknowledged last month fathering the child and asked his followers for forgiveness. So when Roland the bowling ball tries to sit up here and say that, oh, well, Jesse Jackson's son said that the biggest mistake his father ever made was that he did not weaponize his database and weaponize the list. When I come right behind that and say, oh, no, he was using all that. He did utilize it. He just used it for himself to make sure the Democrat Party kept him papered up and kept him flush. And what did he do with the money he got? Why, he stacked up hoes from sea to shining sea. And he got an oddball looking nigga like him got to finally live that sexual voluptuary lifestyle that he had wished he could have got in on in the earlier years. Oh yeah. And one more thing. Roland, you said that you spoke to Jesse Jackson Jr. Yeah. You know, if you all want to go Google this article here. What? You can do that one too. If you don't have anything else to do this evening, you don't have anything else going on, there's the family business, the apple don't fall too far from the tree. Sandy Jackson on husband Jesse Jackson Jr.'s affair. Just because someone cheats doesn't mean you leave him. There are 3 sides to the story. Yes, there are, ma'am. Your side, his side, and BMW side.
And deal with it, nigga.
If women would stop condoning the cheating behavior of men, then cheating wouldn't happen as much, ma'am. Well, what's that? She says she's sticking by her husband, Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. So, yeah, I just thought y'all want to know, just in case you thought this was isolated to Jesse, just in case you thought he was the only one. And by the way, didn't Jesse Jackson Jr. get in some trouble? By the way, didn't Jesse Jackson Jr. get in some trouble? Yeah. I don't just mean with the side chicks, remember? Didn't Jesse get in some for real trouble? Remember? Yes, he didn't have the connections like his daddy to grab that bag up on the table and be able to run off with it. His daddy had the heavy duty connections. Obviously, the son didn't have it quite as thick. Obviously, he didn't. I did not bring receipts. I brought invoices. I do not tell you what you paid. I tell you what you owe. And if you wish to know the real reason that we could never get any support from Jesse Jackson is because Jesse Jackson was too busy supporting the only folk he really cared about, the hoes. And that's just the one broad who stepped up and said, yeah, I got pregnant. She is not the only one. I'm not exaggerating. She's not the only one. By the way, didn't Al Sharpton's water jug head ass sit up here and do the same damn thing? What? By the way, he went to the gym and lost some weight, except in that lollipop head, but didn't he decide it's like, hey, look here, let me hit these streets before I go? Didn't Al Sharpton say, man, let me hit these streets before I check out? First thing they did, look here, there got to be a little young tender around here somewhere need a rent paid. Got to be some little young tender around here needs her rent paid, needs that car note took care of. Got to be. And sure enough, they found him. Now, will someone please explain to me, why is it that your old dead black media never talked about these things? Now, I'm not done just yet here, Jason. You are destroying them. You are murdering them. You're destroying them. Come on, Jason, do you got to do this? Oh, yes, I have to do this. I have to do this. I went digging back through the crates. Oh, Roland's going to have to go sanitize a lot here. I went digging back through the crates just to show you all what Roland was saying here before. Oh, boy, Roland's going to start scrambling for his YouTube now. Let me go take all this down. Too late tonight, nigga. It's from 12 years ago. Let's hear how scathing the criticism of Barack Obama was and how hard Roland Martin held Barack Obama's feet to the fire, at the time.
All our children, from the streets of Detroit to the hills of Appalachia to the quiet lanes of Newtown, know that they are cared for and cherished and always safe from harm.
Chris, so when you look at that particular speech and you look at, first of all, different groups were obviously pleased. You had Latinos who said he was very forceful when it came to immigration. You had folks in the LGBT.
Folks, this is 12 years ago. So just in case anybody thought that Roland was not representing illegal aliens, just in case you thought that Roland that was something new he got on. Jason, why have y'all been giving him nothing but hellfire all these years? Because he been doing this since the beginning. He's always been on this. Always. Please understand that he has always been doing this. So that's why we're staying on his ass, because, by the way, this isn't new what he's been doing since Joe Biden. No, he was doing this since day one, letting you know what really matters. Sitting in front of black folk to let you know, by the way, we got to think about everybody else.
Latinos who said he was very forceful when it.
Know that they are cared for and cherished and always safe from harm.
Chris, so when you look at that particular speech and you look at, first of all, different groups were obviously pleased. You had Latinos who said he was very forceful when it came to immigration. You had folks in the LGBT community who were happy that he mentioned Stonewall and he talked about giving gays the right to marry. I've heard from some African Americans who said, okay, I'm waiting for my specific shout out. And so when you look at 96% of the black vote in 2008, 93% of the black vote in 2012, we heard lots of folks say, look, we can't ask for a lot in the first term because the brother has a lot on his plate. Whites might react differently. He's now in.
Roland was a lot more slender back then, wasn't he? What? Damn! Yeah, y'all, I'm telling you, back when Roland could actually afford a balanced diet, he was a lot more slender back then, wasn't he? I mean, he wasn't never svelte, but Roland is, times done changed, ain't they? Times done changed. Anyway.
In his second term, there are no more excuses. No one can say there's another election. And so what did you see in here that was specific to African Americans, just like it was specific to other groups?
I'm so glad. Well, y'all, now this was him. Well, what did we hear that was specific for African Americans? Okay, so this is letting you know at the time in the middle of things, did you hear anything else? What did you hear that was specifically for us? So Roland even back then had to concede that was the issue front and center. And this is what you hear.
What did you see in here that was specific to African Americans, just like it was specific to other groups?
Well, I talked to members of the Congressional Black Caucus after the speech, and there was a lot of celebration. You know, they were at the inauguration, enjoyed the speech, but I had members tell me, look, it's time to regroup. You know, African American unemployment is still at, I think, around 14%. We're seeing record levels there, and they're looking for some programs that are going to move those numbers. So I think you're going to see a Congressional Black Caucus that is willing to go to the mat on some of these issues.
Oh, please.
Oh, please.
Oh, please.
All right, folks. So here we are, well over a decade later. For those of us who lived it, Did the Congressional Black Caucus go to the mat for anything but the DC freak-off? What did they do for us?
You're going to see a Congressional Black Caucus really go to the mat here.
There was a whole bunch of caramel-complected chicks back in the day who was trying to keep a little check coming through. So they were playing PR for these Democrat apparatchiks. They was trying to keep a little check coming through for themselves. So they were giving good press and giving good sound for them there. But in retrospect, we all know that's a damn lie. They didn't do anything. They didn't do a damn thing. If they were on the mat, it was for OnlyFans, but they didn't do anything for us. And when he asked what's it gonna be, she told you. She just had to make some. Well, I'm sure they gonna do something eventually, ain't they?
We're looking for some programs that are going to move those numbers. So I think you're going to see a Congressional Black Caucus that is willing to go to the mat on some of these issues in ways maybe they were a little tenuous about in the last 4 years.
I got a couple of emails from prominent Democrats, folks who very supportive of this president, and they said he can expect, or he better expect, significant black pressure over the next 4 years, because their deal is the election of Obama, we talked about that on our coverage on Monday, was the beginning of his second term, but it also is the countdown to the end of his presidency.
That's right.
And they said we can't just sit here and allow even another day to go by and not press a very clear black agenda.
And the president...
Okay, folks, did that ever happen? Here we are over 12 years later. Did that ever occur? What you just heard, okay, did that ever happen? Who are these people? Who are these mythical people who Roland claims were writing him and said that there's going to be significant black pressure? Because other than here at the New Black Media, who was it? I know I was applying the pressure, and I know Jughead here wasn't. Nor did he bring on people who were consistently drum beating about it. So who the hell is he talking about? Who in the hell is he speaking about here? Because we know it wasn't him.
In his mind, he would say health care was for black people.
Here and allow even another day to go by and not press a very clear black agenda.
In the president's mind, he would say health care was for black people.
Nigga, what?
Nigga, please.
Nigga, please.
Nigga, what?
Nigga, what? Nigga, what?
See, this is what the hell we get brought. So I wanted you all to know that I wasn't making this up, people. In 2020, when I told you all that when 2024 run around, Roland Martin was gonna be saying exactly what Joe Biden said. Vote for us. We gave you cheaper diabetes medication and Ketanji Brown Jackson. Oh yeah, and student loan debt forgiveness for some of you. And a bunch of y'all were like, Jason, no, man, Jason, you wrong. He's not gonna say nothing that stupid. That's saying nothing. There's no way in the hell they're going to show up in 2024 and tell us that's what they gave us. And in 2024, I play for you. Y'all can go back and listen to the programs. Yeah, Roland came back and said, y'all say you want tangibles. What about student loans? What about health care? So, folks, they've been talking about, quote unquote, health care now for over a damn decade. And they just keep recycling it. So I'm just showing you, even at the beginning of it, it's not gonna end. They're gonna tell us that what they did over a decade ago, that's what we did for you. Now stop asking us for anything. Get your ass out there and vote. And stop asking us for anything, and if you mind your damn manners, we'll let what we did a decade ago continue. But the real beefy issues you need, stop asking about that. You're about to lose the little crumbs we was flicking off. So I'm showing you they've been saying this forever, and Roland was sitting right there at ground zero, condoning it, never pushed back on it. Lying today, claiming that he was somehow pushing back on it, was critical then. You see him just sitting there silent, and this time he doesn't have food in his mouth, so there's no excuse. He's sitting there, he loves interrupting folk. This time he's sitting there silent. Yeah, because this is all it was about.
Because they were affected by lack of it more than anyone else.
And
so the president has done something.
And the administration has said to go by and not press a
health care was for black people. Because they were affected by lack of it more than anyone else. So the president has done something.
And the administration has said that, but when you hear African Americans say specifically black folks, what does that mean to you, Angela and Joseph?
Sure. I think, again, there are a number of things. First and foremost, let's deal with cabinet appointments. You have folks who are leaving. Ron.
Oh, please.
Oh, please.
Oh, please.
Okay, first of all, I got to say this. This is Angela Rye, circa 2013. Circa 2013, 2012. This is Angela Rye. Looking like Kamala Harris.
And deal with it, nigga.
Oh, yeah, folks, this just gets recirculated. I said it, Angela. Whole bunch of young light-skinned hoes. They guys hoes, I sure did.
And deal with it.
Whole bunch of light-skinned hoes back in the day. They was jockeying for their position. And do you see what she said, folks? They're talking about, when she was asked what to do, she starts talking about specific positions. Not something for the masses. A specific position. Which is what individuals like her lobby for. They want you to open up more government positions so that you can remember, by the way, aren't I something a lot nicer to look at while you're roaming the halls of power? DC is full of a bunch of females who otherwise could have been Instagram thoughts and OnlyFans account holders who are looking for another door where they could get on. And so just understand, she wants to talk about specific cabinet positions. Can you open up? Y'all like the government. You can just make a few more. Yeah, so she can get a check running through. Whole bunch of these light-skinned chicks was pressing on that light-skinned privilege, wearing that long hair. Damn! Whole bunch of them there was wearing that long hair. Making sure that would be the case. Making sure that be the case. So yeah, when you go back through the crates, they made sure they didn't even let their hair curl up. You know that thing after you get out the shower, they wasn't even, ain't gonna be no curling up, no frizzing up. And all they stuff going back in the day, it's hanging long. So there were a whole bunch of them playing that Kamala Harris playbook. That playbook is not new. That playbook is hella old. Whole bunch of them was looking to get on. And as a matter of fact, still waiting to get on. What? So I just wanted to stop this for a moment here for y'all to give us a blast from the past so we go ahead and check the track record and see how it worked out. Now we see how it worked out. The Breakfast Club wasn't really hiring. The White House wasn't really hiring. Corporate America ain't really hiring. And at this point right now, Angela Rye is like, damn it, I'm a waste of light-skinned sexy. Yes, ma'am. And that's kind of the math. But yeah, when she was asked what Obama's doing for us, she starts naming specific positions. Pardon the expression. The same old crap. Is there something I can specifically get for me?
Angela and Joseph.
Sure. I think, again, there are a number of things. First and foremost, let's deal with cabinet appointments. You have folks who are leaving, Ron Kirk, Hilda Solis, and others.
Lisa
there are
Jackson.
People of color. Absolutely. There are people of color who are leaving. They need to be replaced, but those aren't necessarily
people of color. No, he asked about specifically black folk, and of course, Team Light Skin immediately starts watering it down, pardon the expression, and starts with the people of color.
necessarily positions that only belong to people of color. There are other places where he can put people of color. Why am I bringing that up?
Do you see she keep people of color, people of color, people of color? I'm acting up so y'all can hear the whole damn answer. How many times can you, if you take a shot every time she says people of color, nigga, you gonna lay out drunk?
Who are leaving, Ron Kirk, Hilda Solis, and others.
Lisa
there are
Jackson.
people of color. Absolutely, there are people of color who are leaving. They need to be replaced, but those aren't necessarily positions that only belong to people of color. There are other places where he can put people of color. Why am I bringing that up? Because if you have people that reflect the face of America in your cabinet, the decisions won't just rely on him or just lie in his
Right.
his responsibility. Also, in the White House, he's replacing his chief of staff. It's a white man, and that's fine, but at the same time, there are other places of influence where we can begin to put people of color, and we need to apply that kind of pressure.
Joe.
Well, and speaking of entrepreneurship, at Small Business Administration, they've got African Americans, they've got people in the Department of Education. But one of the things that I was talking about with a friend of mine, we had this very heated argument about the black ask and about where African American agenda is going in the second term. And part of the problem is, part of his issue was, well, the gays got something. You know, don't ask, don't tell, repealed.
Don't ask, don't tell, DOMA.
Gay marriage, DOMA,
Yeah.
etc. The Latinos, path to immigration, and certain paths to citizenship, he was like, well, where are the things that African Americans are going to get? And my posit to him was, part of the problem is that we can't expect the president to do it by himself because he has to respond to a Congress. And the things that African Americans want cost money. If we're talking about a job program, if we're talking about public works, we're talking about a job banks that Congress has
but
refused to
the
fund.
difference, they have those other groups, though, they also made it clear, they demanded it on the inside, and they said, we're going to put pressure on you on the outside as well.
And that's the twin part of the equation.
Okay, so y'all got to understand, when these boule bootlicking niggas get together, they start talking and splaining and rationalizing and playing the PR for these folk. Let's be clear about something. This last guy's the only jackass who started off good and then he gets to the buck dancing too. People, everything in government costs money. You don't have $37 trillion in debt because this place is cheap. People don't come to America because America's cheap. Any more than they go to Dubai because Dubai is cheap. You want cheap? There's plenty of third world countries. Go live in a cave. Everything in America costs. That's why everybody wants to come here, because it's not cheap. They got cheap where they came from. And so we're sitting up here talking about what black folk are supposed to get. And then all of a sudden he starts talking about, well, you know, the president can't do it by himself. You lying flathead bastard. Donald Trump doing it by himself? Donald Trump walks up, yanks the damn line, and tells the Republicans, get with it. You see, that's that damn excuse making. Trump's people say we ain't taking no excuses. That's why they supported him. They were done with the excuses. Every time niggas show up, they start with the excuses. And then what do you know? It's 8 years later and they're still recycling the same excuses. You don't get anything until you tell folk, I'm not listening to any more excuses. If you show up here, you better have something in your hand, because I'm not taking any more excuses. That's how you stop that. These things cost money. That's the damn problem. Folks, when Obama got in office, these things cost money. What did he go for? Obamacare. That cost a hella money. And nobody today is like, my life changed forever because Obamacare was there. And if our financial situation is actually addressed, you don't need all that garbage. But it's only when we show up. And here's the thing. You can't name anything specifically. These other folk at least got something specific. You can't name a single thing that was just specifically for us. Yeah, banks got bailouts. That cost hella money. He came into office giving trillions of dollars to the bankers and making sure that the CEOs kept their bonuses. What? For those of you who don't remember, after the 2008 financial crisis, Obama bailed out the banks. Well, finished bailing out the banks, but then made sure the CEOs of the banks kept their bonuses. He didn't even require them to give up their bonuses. They wrecked the economy, ruined the world's economy. The government had to bail them out, and he didn't even demand that they give up their bonuses. And then some jackass, every time you turn around, there's some jackass coming to us talking about, what's too expensive for us. They're always going to say it's too expensive for us. 2008, it was too expensive for us then, wasn't too expensive for the banks. 2020, too expensive for us then, wasn't too expensive for COVID. 2021, 2022, wasn't too expensive for Ukraine. The only time folk talk about these things cost money is when we show up. That's the only time that excuse gets run out. For everybody else, we got something for you. For us, niggas, shut up and vote. We ain't got no money for you. And this is going all the way back in the day they've been doing this. It's never going to end with their lack of integrity. And this is why Roland is scrambling now to see if he can reinvent himself and rewrite history and claim he was doing a bunch of things he was never doing, because he sees now that the damage to Obama's reputation is permanent and irreparable. Obama is the bad guy now. History has spoken on him, and history vilifies him. Roland is now letting you all know that he accepts that that is the reality. That's the new way under the sun, and there ain't no going back. Now, he's still going to try to work that illegal immigrant angle, but what he is conceding is that the damage to Obama is total and complete, and there is no return. Not going to happen. No way you can walk it backwards. You can't explain it away and you can't repair it. You're not going to be able to undo it. Yes, they're hella unhappy about it, because it's not going to work. I want to play one more here because Roland claims that he was always critical of Obama. We're going to go back to 2017 this time. Now, this was after Obama was out of office. 2017, he has another roundtable. What do you know? Angela Rye is still there. Angela Rye is still there. If Play Joe Card's wrong was a person. So Roland wants to hear what y'all got to say about this.
He is absolutely correct. And by that definition, I would grade Obama maybe a C+. There are some areas that improved. There are some areas where he could have made a much better legacy that he did it.
Nigga, what? Yeah, they asked, how would you grade Obama? Now, this was after he had been out of office for over a year. For a year. After he was out of office, how would you grade him? How would you grade him? 2017, it's the next year. How would you grade him? Well, there's things he did well. Y'all know Jason Johnson, of course. Anybody knows right here, his track record is very well known.
There are some areas where he could have made a much better legacy that he did it. You look at issues like civil rights, civil liberties, he didn't really do all that much. He pretty much advanced the kinds of things Bush did. We had domestic spying, we had that sorts of issues.
He advanced the things that Bush did. Well, isn't that the definition of status quo? Why would anybody vote for you to maintain the status quo? Who voted for Obama because they wanted the status quo? And he just said, well, I mean, he continued what Bush did. That's the status quo. You call that doing something? Well, if that was doing something, then why didn't we just go ahead and vote for Bush and just get the same something?
You look at domestic policing issues. There were some surface things that were done, not enough convictions, not enough changes. He left a lot of points on the field by not putting in a lot of judges, certainly in these last couple of days when he could, when Congress was on recess. Were there some healthcare improvements? Sure. You look at financially, no. I mean, with 40-something% of African-American wealth lost during the Great Recession, primarily through housing, there was not nearly enough effort put in. 53%.
People, not only did Barack Obama do nothing for us financially, he not only did nothing, we actually went backwards. We would have been better off without him financially. He didn't just do nothing. We went backwards under him. We lost wealth under the Obama administration. Under the Obama administration, we lost wealth. And Roland Martin finally had to break down over the last couple of years and admit that that's what happened. We lost under him. We didn't just sit still. We lost. We lost a lot. Now, Obama got a great big old house and a yacht that he can bring his boyfriends over, and so Michelle can sit with her brother and run him down and sit up here and hint that she wants a divorce. But for the rest of us, he did something financially, all right. He didn't do nothing for us financially. He did a lot financially. He raped us and hurt us even worse than the Republicans did.
Exactly. There was not nearly enough targeted effort put in to help black people regain their footing that was lost during the Great Recession. So I give him a CC+.
Angela.
So I think this.
Why all these niggas sitting up here choking? Well, they're all sitting up here choking and coughing. Is that honesty creaking its way out your throats?
This is really interesting. I first want to kind of flag some of the challenges that he was up against. One, of course, is unprecedented Republican obstruction. That said, that does not mean that he did all that he could and left nothing out. That's a sermon that my pastor once preached. When I think about the clemency initiative that was run out of the Department of Justice, the fact that he's conservatively used pardons, but he has overwhelmingly used...
Big eyes, cleft chin, y'all. I gotta say it. Light skin, big eyes, cleft chin. Y'all know about them crazy broads. And throw light skin on top of it. We know how it goes. I'm not gonna say it tonight, but all right, light skin, cleft chin, big eyes. Keep it rolling.
Commutations to ensure that there's some type of parity within CJ reform, but also the fact that a Republican Congress wouldn't take up a criminal justice reform bill. When I think about him pushing an American Jobs Act that could never even get consideration on the House floor, and now we're talking about what types of deals Democrats could broker with the Donald Trump when they just wholeheartedly ignored this. When I think about the fact that the Congressional Black Caucus went on a jobs initiatives tour to deal with black unemployment that was sky high and one of the most tense moments we had with this president. And then I look at where unemployment is now.
And the Black Caucus got attacked for that.
Absolutely.
Because they got ripped to shreds by saying, how dare y'all speak against the president.
That's right.
But they didn't. Y'all hear this butterball lying his ass off again?
And then I look at where unemployment is now.
And the Black Caucus got attacked for that.
Absolutely.
Because they got ripped to shreds by saying, how dare y'all speak against the president.
That's right.
I know.
Come on now.
Caucus got attacked for that.
Absolutely.
Because they got ripped to shreds by saying, how dare y'all speak against the president.
That's right.
I know I was the executive director at the time, but I think that it just...
The Congressional Black Caucus was 10 toes down for Obama till the day he left, so they were nothing but support for him. You know who wasn't criticizing? Roland.
Demonstrates how much of a balancing act this was, how much of a tightrope black folks had to walk. We had to be careful utilizing our platforms in criticizing the president. And it's frustrating because I also think of things forms in criticizing the president. Black folks had to walk. We had to be careful utilizing.
Y'all, that could be Kamala Harris's sister. Damn! Okay, I want to go back and freeze frame that to say, by the way, that could be, you know, Angela Harris. I mean, Kamala Harris and Angela Harris. I mean, y'all could, folks, if they make the Kamala Harris movie, could she not star in it? That doesn't look like Kamala Harris to you? That's not a dead ringer to you, really. So that's not it. It's just me? All right. All I'm saying is I see a lot of damn similarities. I see a lot.
Utilizing our platforms in criticizing the president. And it's frustrating because I also think of things he said like, if you want something done, make me do it. He talked about a rising tide lifts all boats. Well, we ain't got no damn boat. So there are all of these other challenges that exist. And so it's not... a 30-second answer I could give you is probably a book.
Okay, I can add some of this for you in 5 seconds here. The nigga didn't do a damn thing. He was a complete and utter failure and embarrassment. There's your 5 seconds. I don't need 30. He didn't do a damn thing and you can't name anything he did. All you can name is some incidental stuff that you're going to try to lie through your teeth and claim, well, indirectly affected us. You can't name anything because there's nothing to name. Let me go ahead and skip past Greg Carr here. All you need to know is this Greg. Hell, back then he still had darker hair back then. Now he's all the way gray, but he's always been all the way silly. He was partially gray back then, but he was all the way silly. And then, of course, they go on to this last woman up here. She could have been good otherwise. It didn't work.
I forget when we talk about this president, he dealt. Give him a C. I might give him a D plus.
Lauren.
Y'all hear that?
So I don't know, Doc. I might give him a C. I might give him a D plus.
What the hell school did Greg go to? I might give him a C. I might give him a D plus. If you do some extra work after class, summer school. Non-committal niggas. I'm like, okay, if you want to know why we didn't get nowhere, there it is. There it is, right there. So he always been like this.
Lauren?
It's hard to give him a grade on this. Angela makes a really good point. We can never...
Oh, please.
It's hard to give him a grade. You saw the same 8 damn years we did.
It's hard to give him a grade on this. Angela makes a really good point. We can never forget when we talk about this president, he dealt with historic obstruction like we have never seen in American history. There's no doubt about that. When we look at the hard data, though, when we look at the unemployment rate for African Americans, as Angela brought up, it hit 16.7 in late 2011. The CBC goes on a job tour. The White House gets pissed off about it. Well, that 16.7 was a 28-year high, highest since Ronald Reagan. Now, he did get it back down to 8.1, which is where it is now, which is very commendable. But if you look at Bush's lowest number, it's 7.6 in 2007. Clinton's lowest numbers were in the 7s. And, at his first press conference, look at Bush's lowest number, it's 7.6 in 2007. Clinton's lowest numbers
all right
were in the 7s. And, at his first press conference, he was asked about this. Are you going to do targeted help for African?
I'm just saying, maybe the issue is my eyes ain't big enough. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the problem is my eyes are not big enough. I can't get them because I can't do that right. What she's doing right there, I can't do that. I can't do that. So I think maybe we found the problem because she worked for NBC at the time. So it's just, okay, this is why we can't make it in the media because our eyes are not big enough. If we could get our eyes to bug out a little bit more, we'd be all right. But as it stands, none of us are going to make it. So in any case, I just wanted y'all to know, y'all heard Roland there. He's not sitting up here taking anybody to task. He's not taking anybody to task. He's not lighting anybody up. There's nobody in mortal fear. He wasn't criticizing anybody there. He's doing the same damn thing he's been doing the whole time. Nothing changed. Nothing at all. It's only now that history has been very, very unkind to Barack Obama. Now, all of a sudden, Roland the bowling ball wants you to sit up here and think that he wasn't doing it the whole time because he's hoping that nobody remembers what he's been doing for the last 2 damn decades. Roland Martin was auditioning for a job at the White House with all the other ass kissers in the old black media. And the only time that they started getting salty with Obama was when they realized they weren't gonna get it. Ain't that right, Travis Smiley?
And deal with it, nigga.
By the way, if you'd like me to go down the other list, we can. But none of you Tom Joyner morning niggas, all of y'all were hoping for a job at the White House, and none of you niggas got salty until Obama stopped returning your phone calls. And that was it. Up until then, things were sweet. Y'all had no problem with him right up until he stopped returning your phone calls. Now, when that happened, all of a sudden, Obama's the devil. All of a sudden, he was no good. He was cool in the gang when he was returning your calls. He was cool in the gang then. Back then. But up until then, I didn't have nothing for it. Now, I want to do one more thing here. I want to go through the crates one more time, one more again, and then we're going to go ahead and take some of y'all's calls because Roland ain't going to like this. Roland's not going to like this. You see, back in 2017, Trump just takes office. So it's the next year. Trump just takes office. 2016 election, Trump takes office 2017. And Roland wants to go back through the crates, and I'm so glad he did because he made life a little bit easier here. Damn, this internet, it just keeps track of what everybody did. They can't run back and lie and claim they didn't do things that they did. Damn, documentation hurts. Well, folks, this is what Roland was on.
The presidency of the nation's first black president, Barack Hussein Obama, officially ends today at noon, when a man with a very different vision for America, Donald Trump, is sworn in as the 45th president of the United States. When I interviewed President Barack Obama 1 year into his first term in January of 2010, he laid out his vision for governing as the nation's first black president.
The basic principle is, A, that we are aspiring to universal opportunity, that if we do the right thing on healthcare, or we do the right thing on education, that's going to help African Americans and Latinos more, only because they're further behind, but it's not because we're targeting them on the basis of race.
Donald J. Trump walked in the White House talking about what he was going to do for black people, for white people, talking about how white people are being targeted. Donald J. Trump made no bones about what he was going to do for white folk when he was running and when he got in the White House. I'm going back here to show you all that he's showing you when he talked to Obama 15 years ago. Obama hitting you with the black and brown and the indirect impact and rising tide lift all boats, and we can't just do something for black folks. And well, if we do something about these other things, and people, how did any of that work out? Folks, he got his way. He got things done. Common Core math. How did any of that work out, by the way? Hey, did any of you get your boats risen? Hey, did any of your boats get a piece of that rising tide, folks? Asking for a friend. That rising tide that he said was going to lift all y'all's boats. Did any of y'all have a boat get the tide lifted? Because he said that doing things indirectly was how we help you. We help you indirectly. We help everybody else hella directly. But for you, the best we can do is indirect. Did Roland push back on that and say that's not acceptable? Or did Roland sit there and nod his head because he felt there was a deputy White House press secretary job in the future? I'll let you decide which happened.
Thing on healthcare, or we do the right thing on education, that's going to help African Americans and Latinos more, only because they're further behind, but it's not because we're targeting them on the basis of race. There will be some circumstances in which, for example, closing the achievement gap, we should pay special attention to the fact that, we can't afford to have African American children, graduating from high school with 8th grade reading levels.
Okay, and you and your Common Core bullcrap, how did that help? How'd that help, buddy? You got that through, stupid, and what did it do to help anybody? Oh yeah, nothing. Here's another thing here, people. That takes time. Talking about education stuff, see, this is how they put in these stalling tactics and play these word games. Talking about we're going to do something with education. That takes time, man. That'll take a decade before that pans out. Even if they did do something smart, which they won't, but even if they did, that's going to be something that takes years and years. We need something right now. Jewish people get something right now. Illegals get something right now. Gays get something right now. They show up for us and all of a sudden we can't do nothing for you right now. Ukrainians, Afghans, they got something for them right now. For us, everything is, in a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time from now. Oh, that might be happening here when Han Solo and the Millennium Falcon come through. So all the crap he's naming, just understand this is political bull jive he pulling. Says, well, if you wait a decade, we'll do something now, but you won't see any results now, but don't worry, it's coming. Okay, we want it right now. Yeah. Go ahead and do that long-term stuff, but we need the short-term stuff. When you go talk to Northrop Grumman and Lockheed Martin and Boeing, you cut they check today. We want one of them today checks. We want that today program that you got for everybody else. You keep putting us on layaway. Damn that. We want the today program. And did Roland call him out on this? Hell no.
Because that's our future workforce, and that's going to be bad for everybody. And I think the African American community, like every community, should say we've got some particular problems that need redress.
I want you all to hear this. I want you to become very, very sensitive to the flim-flam, jive talk, and lying. The black community, like the African American community, because y'all know him, he wants to internationalize things because he's not one of us. But anyway, he's not like us. Well, the black African American community, like every other community, see, there's where you stop they asses today. When they try to lump us in with anyone, I hope that our efforts of the last decade have borne fruit, that when you all hear this kind of talk, when they try to lump us in with anyone, black and brown, people of color, black, like every other community, we're not like any other community. No other community gets told to its face that we're here to ignore you. No other community gets told to their face, we're doing something directly for everyone except you. No other community gets singled out for neglect. No other community gets proudly told what's not going to happen for them, that we're in the most dire straits. No, we're not like any other community of people. We have nothing in common with them. Our needs are separate and apart and distinct from everybody else. So no, we're not like anyone. So I hope you all have become super sensitive so that any politician who uses that language with you, you immediately have this reaction that you catch on to it when they first use it. They try to say it in some sly, slick, subtle way. That's how things evolve now. They realize we're on the heavy stuff. They're going to try to get slick and sly with it. No, we're not like anybody else, so don't say we are. We want to know specifically for us because we're not like anyone else. And he sat there in front of Roland and said, we're like anybody else. And did Roland stop him? Hell no.
And the Congressional Black Caucus appropriately should be focused on some of the majority in their communities that are really hurting. The only difference I would have would be if it is framed in terms of just helping one racial group or one ethnic group, as opposed to helping everybody. Some groups may need some particular help because they're so far behind. But the more we frame this as Americans who are coming together to get things done and to encourage each other's success, the better off we're going to be. I've been the first one to say.
When did he encourage anybody to back our success? When did this lying unibrow bastard ever sit up here and tell other people that they need to celebrate our success? When did he ever sit up there and lecture them about that? When?
That my election didn't represent the end of racial controversies or the solution to race relations in this country. We've been dealing with this for hundreds of years. We've got a legacy of slavery, of Jim Crow, of discrimination. There are still suspicions and stereotypes that linger in our culture. Those things aren't going to go away overnight. I don't think anybody expects them to. I think that what we can honestly say is that progress has been made. I'm in the Oval Office. You are.
Nigga, what?
Nigga, please.
Nigga, what? Nigga, please. Nigga, what?
Did you all hear that? I think we can agree that progress has been made. I mean, I'm in the Oval Office. Did y'all hear that? Progress has been made. I mean, look at me. I'm fly. Progress has been made. I'm in the Oval Office. Now, in retrospect, this all takes on a frightening new significance. 15 years later, hearing this, I'll be damned. And when he left office, when he got in office, the only one that benefited was him. When he left office, oh yeah, that was the game plan. Only one it benefits is him.
Are able to do an interview for. I think that what we can honestly say is that progress has been made. I'm in the Oval Office. You are able to do an interview for a black-owned TV station. Those are things that didn't exist, not just 50 years ago, didn't exist 15 years ago.
Well, folks, that's what Roland wanted to do. And that's all it took for Obama to buy off Roland, was to publicly acknowledge him so that Roland could say, I talked to the president. That was all he wanted. And Obama knew it. So he gave him his acknowledgement. Okay, nigga, I said, I acknowledge you exist. Now go ahead and stomp for me. And that's exactly what Roland did.
And so obviously things have changed, but that doesn't mean that there's not still going to be the need for constant evolution on the part of the country, so that there's greater understanding, greater empathy. People are not subject to some of the sensitivities that they are right now because everybody feels like they've got an equal stake in our society. We're not there yet. I think we're going to get there. I think it's nice that African American kids around the country can say to themselves, you know, maybe I can aspire to be president too. I think that's worth something. I think it indicates the progress we've made and the openness that American society has to judging people on the merits. But the bottom line is I still have to perform as president. And you know, if after having gone through the worst financial crisis and recession since the Great Depression, we are not rebuilding this economy in a way that's more fair, more just, provides greater employment opportunities. If I have not succeeded in that, then I think people are right to be frustrated and right to be angry.
Well, thank you very much then, because we are hellified angry at it, you lying two-faced bastard. You didn't fix anything. You didn't help anything except for your damn self, you and your banker friends. So yeah, you didn't fix anything. You made it way worse, except for you. That was the only difference. Exactly what we said it was going to be. Yeah, that's exactly what that happened. Sitting there the whole time running the game. Well, you know, I mean, if I don't, you have a right to be angry. I'll be damned. With Roland Martin the rest of the whole damn time telling us, well, just wait till the first term is over. Okay, wait, the second term is over. After he gets out of office, he'll do something for us. Played the game the whole damn time. The time to call this nigga out was in 2010 to let him know, by the way, Mitch McConnell said you need to be a one-term president. We'll make sure you're a one-term president if you don't put something on the damn table. And it doesn't matter about legislation. You're supposed to be our chief advocate. If the black community voted for you at a rate of 90+%, you should be 90% our advocate. And he wasn't. He's supposed to be going to them other groups telling them about how they need to support us. Never did it. Yes, this is a rather sinister, ominous interview 15 years later. It plays back in a very ominous manner now in retrospect.
The only thing I ask, not just from African Americans, but from all Americans, more just, provides greater employment opportunities. If I have not succeeded in that, then I think people are right to be frustrated and right to be angry. The only thing I ask, not just from African Americans, but from all Americans, is to understand where we start from. We started in a deep hole. You know, it always amuses me when I hear Republicans talking about, look at all this debt and deficit that he's accumulated. Well, time out. The overwhelming portion of the debt that was accumulated when we were not in recession, but in economic growth mode. For 8 years, Bill Clinton left a surplus that ran into trillions of dollars of debt and a $1.3 trillion deficit that I inherited. So hold me responsible for what am I now doing to solve that problem. But don't act like, you know, I just landed here, you know, with a blank slate. The same is true when it comes to employment. When I was sworn in January 20th, it turned out that we had just lost 650,000 jobs in December of 2008, lost another 700,000 in January of 2009 before I had even figured out where the bathrooms were in the West Wing, and had lost another 650,000 in March before our plans even had started to be implemented. So
do you see how long this nigga is talking? Do you see how long he's going on with this long-winded answer?
Our plans even had started to be implemented. So the bulk of the 7 million jobs that we lost this year occurred before our plans had any opportunity to get going. As long as people understand that, the baseline from which we were starting, then I feel very comfortable being judged by what we produce.
All right, folks, I'm going to begin our conversation this way. So,
at no point during that screed did Roland the bowling ball stop and say, all right, dude, I heard all that. Now that you done said all that garbage, what you gonna do specifically for the descendants of the slaves? You know, who voted you in office and got you there? Who flipped the Carolinas for you? You know, what you gonna do for us, specifically for us? Now that you done said all that damn horse babble, yeah, okay, we through that. What you gonna do for us now? Now that you done got that out your system. Did that occur? Because you see, if that were Donald Trump talking, Roland would be big and buck. I mean, he'd be big and buck regardless, but if that was Donald Trump talking, he'd be like that. I'm like, okay, you know what? That's perfectly fine. Keep that same energy when this lying nigga that we supported says that. You supposed to be shutting him down on day one. He never should have made it to 2012 with your support. He never should have made it to 2012 with your support. That simply never should have happened. So when you talk about how they are bolstering these people here from the southern states and all these things around to Barack Obama, we noticed a great big huge pattern. We noticed it. We saw what it was. And I'm just bringing you all the invoices. So I told you it was going to take me a little while to get through this, but I wanted to make sure I brought all the invoices. Roland Martin did not have this energy back in 2010. Roland Martin was sitting on the damn golf course blocking the sun, providing shade to the houses behind him. He wasn't talking like this in 2010, 2012. 2014, 2016, hell, 2017, 18, 19. Roland wasn't talking like this at all. He wasn't counting up the failures and how he's getting lost. He didn't do any of this at all. Now, we did, but he was silent. And the record is out there already. So he's hoping that new people who don't know any better will stumble across this stuff, and enough time has passed that he can rewrite his history. No, he was chief cheerleader with his miniskirt and his pom-poms in his hands, right up until he realized that Obama really wasn't going to give him nothing. He's going to give you the same thing he gave the rest of us. It's only now that he realizes nothing is coming. Now he's like, okay, well, to hell with Obama. Let me go ahead and give him some smoke. But it's not because Roland Martin has found religion, much less integrity or honesty. It's only because he's given up on the idea that Obama gonna give him some personal goodies. And y'all have to understand, that's why I followed the Kamala Harris campaign so closely and showed y'all. I gave you all the documentation. You all saw it and heard it in real time. Steve Harvey got personal rewards and benefits from Kamala Harris. D.L. Hughley got personal stuff. So they were big supporters because they got personal things, personal gifts, personal rewards. Then you wonder why they could lie to their damn faces. Yeah, they were getting personal stuff. Beyonce and Oprah were getting personal things. Oh, yeah. And Roland Martin was getting personal benefits. Oh, they didn't tell Beyonce, we'll see if we can do something for education for Blue Ivy. They didn't say that. They said, here's a check. Fat Joe got fatter. Cardi B said, I got my next BBL money. Beyonce and Kelly Rowland showed up. And Roland Martin didn't have a word to say about Kamala Harris because, she was throwing benefits. The only complaint he had was that she wasn't throwing enough. Pause. But that's the way it's always been. So in case anyone was wondering what the truth was, yeah, there it really is. However, you might disagree. Therefore, The lines to the Zoom are now open. You are welcome to go ahead and join us there. It's pinned to the top of the chat room. The only thing that we ask, of course, is that when you get on Zoom, please make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on just so we don't have any trolling issues. YouTube will not see you. The internet will not see you. It's only for me, just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues. That's all. That's all we're looking for there. So, by all means, you can go ahead and join us on Zoom. We look forward to having that, and you can go ahead and be a part of what we're doing here tonight. Got folks who are getting on the Zoom here already, so you might want to try to get in there early. I'm not going to stay on here all night with this, to be totally honest. I know I had a lot of documentation to go over, so I did want to do that. A lot of documentation to go over, a lot to bring to you all here. But I felt like it was important to do this kind of catching up on it, to put it in its proper context with all these folk who are out there, so I thought that was important as well. In the meantime, I'd like to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Shout out here to GoGo. Thank you very much for your support here, GoGo. Thank you for your support. We appreciate that. Also to the Code Leads. Thank you very much for your support as well. We appreciate that. Ike Kennedy, Linwood. Thank you all for your support here tonight. Let me go ahead and see if we can jump back over here on Zoom right quick. Let me see if I can get AT up here on Zoom. AT. We'll give you a few moments here. By the way, here, folks, if you are on Zoom, please make sure you're paying attention here. Otherwise, you might get left behind. So, AT. All right, AT, what's on your mind?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
Man, this is going to go down as one of the greatest broadcasts you've done. Like, it's going to go down in history. But Roland Martin is currently walking around with egg on his face. I believe that the FBA's back then tried to warn him if he went down his current path, he gonna look like a fool 20 or 10, 20 years later. They warned him. And because he couldn't resist the greed, he burned a bridge he can never cross back. I felt at one point during your broadcast, Roland Martin should have manned up and called into the show and explained to the people why he did what he did.
I mean, we can see why he did what he did.
He destroyed so many lives and he don't even know it.
I mean, well, yeah, I mean, definitely they're lies, but remember, they're lies for your consumption. They're not lies for the people. They're not lies for, the media. They're lies for your consumption to rewrite the history because I told y'all decades ago, presidents come and go. The black media is going to be here because we serve the people. Yeah, Obama's out of office and the political whores in the old black media are looking for a new sponsor. So that didn't work. And you see, what was supposed to happen was that at least Obama was supposed to give him plausible deniability. So that at least he could put a little spin on it to say they weren't totally wrong. At this point right now, yeah, everybody's turned completely against it. So now he's in the unenviable position of trying to convince you that he was not in complete support of something he was in supporting the whole time. So he can't walk it backwards, brother. They all went 10 toes down because they needed the money. Remember with Donald Brazil, they snuck him the debate questions. So that was it. And that's the compromising. Y'all got to understand, Jeffrey Epstein is just one version of the compromising. That's just one version. Getting you on paper, getting you to do some stuff you shouldn't be doing. They get it documented that you did something you shouldn't be doing. That's it. They got a receipt for your ass. So you ever get out of line, we can cash that in. What do you know? They got Jake Tapper to call him out. Roland Martin got smoked for everybody except Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper pulled his damn card. We covered that too. He don't want that. No, that's the only person he doesn't want to smart off to anymore. They'll gladly have him on CNN if they'll talk to Jake Tapper. He doesn't want to do that. So there was a lot of them who sold their souls, and all they really are is compromised, and the folk got their paperwork. And at this point, it didn't work. So now they want to say, can I rewrite history? Not really. I'll let you have the last word.
And you know what I also find interesting is that you gave Roland Martin his public flogging, but the weird thing is Obama's getting his through Michelle Obama's podcast. Some of the things that are being revealed in that podcast, I'm thinking, how did people vote for this guy?
Because these are products. They handle that the exact same way they handle your favorite rappers, your movie stars, or whatever. You don't know anything about them. You know, Barack Obama smoked cigarettes, and they made sure to never show him doing that. But so these are packages, and they package them as a product. They package the image. You don't know these people. Here's the thing about me. I don't know them, and I don't want to know them. I don't have to know you to do my bidding. I don't have to know what my mechanic is doing at his house to know if he fixes my car right. I don't have to live with you. I gave you a job to do. And the problem I have is when people are sitting up here trying to gaslight us and tell us they did the job and they never actually did. And that we should be happy with the job that they didn't do. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Brother Elijah up here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and see if we can get Brother Elijah up here on Zoom. Brother Elijah, what's on your mind?
Hey, big brother. Good evening. B1 to you and the family. Hey, big brother. If you don't mind, I'm not going to take too much of your time, big brother. I do really want to build on what you were saying about Winsome the Monkey Sears and Barack Sweet and Low Obama. I want to build on those two because I don't think these tethers really understand, big brother. You don't lose a better friend or a better ally than the American black man and woman. You don't lose a better soldier, a better troop, a better staunch activist than the American black man and black woman. All right, they don't realize the damage that they cause. Everything we're doing today on your broadcast, when we listen to Professor Black Truth, Tariq Nasheed, everything, at least 90% of it goes back to Obama's presidency for his refusal to do anything for his foundational black American base. Now, Winsome Sears is not having those double digits behind a white woman. No, she's having what Kamala Empty Suit Harris had, a Barack Obama problem. Because now we have to punish, we can't, because of Barack Obama, people don't understand that we can't do flat blackness anymore. Now you have to be of the lineage. Now, yeah, sure. You can be.
Well, here's the thing. You have to be on code.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's the real thing about it. The issue is not folks who are not from our lineage. The reason why lineage became the issue is because a substantial number of folks who are not from our lineage we found were off code.
Yes,
that
sir.
was the thing we looked at. So those of us from our lineage, substantially, predominantly on code, and we realized a lot of the folks that they were bringing over here, they were specifically selecting or pre-selecting for people who are off code. Then when you take a look at who they elevated, these are specifically people who are off code. So that was the real thing about it. It's not really about the lineage thing is an issue now because it gives us a vector to weigh who's on code and who isn't. And the off code issue we found really did boil down, a major, super major predominant factor was the lineage for the off code thing. Winsome Sears would be cool in the gang if she were on code.
Right.
Problems, she's got a decade-long track record of being anti-us. That's the problem that she has. I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, big brother, I'm gonna just drop this and then I'm gonna land my plane. Hey, this is a conversation, unfortunately, Barack Bussy Obama got started for us because now a lot of these foreign brothers and sisters, they're coming over here and they have high aspirations, and we're shutting that down all because of the things he did. He set the precedent to do to send these people backpacking and everything like that, all because of how he treated us. And my last question, and I'm gonna go, how could you be the most praised man and yet you have so much animosity towards your black base? And I'm gonna land my plane.
Well, because the folks who promoted them, everybody's trying to figure out how they can be black and not have black support.
Yes, sir.
Whether they're Democrats or Republicans, they're trying to figure out how can you be a black politician who has no black support. They're all trying to figure out how to straddle that fence.
Right.
And it's only when you let them fall off and break their asses that then they stop trying. Well, reality sits in, and then they bring out another disposable Negro, and they just rinse and repeat. So it's not so much that it works, it's that they just find another gullible tool who'll sit up there and jump up to do it. What's changed recently is that now we're openly saying it. They're no longer asking, is this some subculture that's just something really weird happened? They're hearing it. They're hearing it everywhere they go. They're hearing it across the board. It's now become an open statement that's being said in the society at will. So they can't pretend it's not there anymore. Yes, and sir. The Democrats should not be deceived about Virginia. They should not be deceived about that. Just because Winsome Sears loses doesn't mean that you won.
Right.
So they should not be deceived about that. 4 years ago, it was a whole different thing. So they shouldn't deceive themselves into thinking that if she loses, all of a sudden everything's good again, and everybody's ready to tow the water, carry the water for them. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me go ahead and see if we can get James up here on Zoom. Winsome's got a lot to learn. Okay, James, what's on your mind?
Hey, Jason, how you doing? Can you see me?
All right, brother. Why are you looking like Dougie Fresh 2025?
Damn! What's going on, man?
I'm expecting you to bust out beatboxing. What's on your mind?
First off, thank you. Got my copy of 8 a.m. I got a chance to watch it. It was fire.
Thank you very much, brother. We appreciate that.
I wanted to say one other thing about this attack. You showed about Winston Sears, and we know all about her. Then you showed Angela Rye, Roland Martin, and she brought up people of color. And it made me think. Today I bought the USA Today paper. And if you think we're not under attack politically, the LA City Council had to vote to ban the N-word in these city council meetings, these forums. So what's going on like that? That they have to vote to ban this word. And there's videos of people losing their mind. And I just thought that was relevant to how we getting attacked on all these different sides.
No, look, when your political leadership has abandoned you, the first thing is to silence you.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism is a cancer. Criticism is acidic. And if people are allowed to criticize you with impunity, especially if they're telling the truth, that becomes cancerous. It becomes acidic. Remember, brother, you change societies one person at a time. Yeah. All it takes is a few folks saying something and it's true. They keep saying it. Next thing you know, one more person agrees, another person agrees, them group over there agrees. Next thing you know, you wake up one morning and 51% of the people don't agree with you anymore. And 51% of the people think you're the problem. So, yeah, the first thing that these folks try to do throughout history, when they realize that the argument is no longer on their side, silence the people. Get them quiet. That's why Brandon Johnson in Chicago's in trouble, because the optics of all these black folks showing up openly criticizing him, that's what's done damage to him. That right there. The optics that is black folk calling him a task about the illegals. That's done it. It doesn't even matter if those people who are talking represent the majority or not. The fact that that optic is there and is visible, that's the acidic part. I'll let you have the last word.
I just want to say, for those of you who don't think it's a problem, it starts with Shiloh Hendricks calling your children a bunch of niggas. And then it turns into the guy out there in Cincinnati who decides not only is he going to call you one, but he going to put action behind it. And I just thought it was funny that in liberal California, these people were losing their mind because they could not say that word anymore. One guy was talking about bringing in songs of Tupac playing. He was angry that he can't get in there and call us a bunch of niggas. And for those of you who just don't think it's a problem, yes, it's just a word. But we all know the violence that come behind it. And it's just funny how people are really losing their minds over the fact that they want to be able to call us that. Because once you let them go on and on with that, it's only a matter of time.
Well, brother, here's the thing. I need y'all to understand something here. Now, this is the flip side of what you were saying. To the extent that you might have any white supremacists, suspected white supremacists who want to normalize calling folks nigger, I need y'all to understand something. People, I didn't freak out in 2020 when a bunch of black folk did. Some of them called me. Some of them left comments. You can't find a single one of them today. Not a one of them today. The folks who were telling me, well, Jason, Joe Biden won in 2020. The Democrats is back. You was wrong. It ain't over. And I said, actually, I'm more right than I've ever been because the onus is off of us now. The worst thing that could have happened for the Democrats is to win because now they have to make good on all these promises. Before now, they didn't have to. Now, all they can say, the Republicans are running things. Once they ran things, that's it, buddy. You have no more cover. The pendulum had swung. In 2020. And I said, the pendulum's going to swing back. 2024, the pendulum swung back like a sledgehammer. Now the white supremacists are out here overestimating things, wilding out. I've done 2 weeks of programs here showing where they're wilding out and acting a fool, trying to re-legitimize Nick Fuentes and open white supremacy. And this is good. What?
Yep.
Brothers, this is good. I want them at the LA City Council, the New York City Council, Chicago, Dallas. I want them to walk in there, bring your Ku Klux Klan robes, bring your swastikas, bring the whole white supremacy gift pack. I want that. I want you emboldened.
Oh, yeah.
Charlottesville was a disaster for the white supremacists. Why? Because they became emboldened. They became so emboldened. They're so determined to try to normalize this and make it normal. They became emboldened. And they keep falling for the bait. They keep falling for it. So, brother, I want them mask off. I want them in the open. I want them to show all the paraphernalia. I want them to show that they really are white extremists. I want them to stop pretending. Brother, every time they do that, that helps us. But you know why? Because Trump is going to leave office no matter what. The pendulum is going to swing back where it was sooner than they think it is. And now the only thing that's happened is all of you will be on the record now. The environment is going to go back to being very hostile towards them. Only now it's going to be like Nuremberg. Now we know everybody who was in on it, and they will not have any way to rationalize it or explain it away. But, brother, they can't do it if you don't let them talk. Let them talk, let them speak, let them wild out, let them act a fool. I'm encouraging them to say nigga, nigga, nigga everywhere. I'm not stopping a one of you. Matt Walsh, Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro. I want all of you on the record. Mark Lamont Hill is an ass-kissing coon. But worse than that, he's a coward. Let that white woman sit up there on Piers Morgan and yell nigga all day. I want her to say it. Give her a microphone. Give her a bullhorn. Give her a megaphone. Put her on every cable television channel, every internet website. I want all of them up front line on the record. And when things swing the other way, they've given us everything we need for their future indictments.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that everybody's liberal buddies was. I mean, I'm okay with it like you. I'm from Louisiana, so we used to. We prefer it open.
Yeah, but the thing is, the liberal white supremacists understand, keep the other folk quiet. You're blowing our cover. Y'all getting too excited. You're getting too damn excited, and you're blowing our cover. When y'all blow it up like that, you make us easy targets. You see, white supremacy can only win when it's hidden. When y'all remember, brother, what they tell you is there's no racism. There's no racism. There's no white supremacy. You can't say that when he's sitting right there yelling nigga, nigga, nigga. Brother, we're back in the 1940s now when you got that. Shiloh Hendrix is showing you that this is still the 1940s. This is still the 1840s. You can't claim that there's no racism and white supremacy and Shiloh Hendrix is right there yelling nigga, nigga, nigga to your kids. You can't tell me that Carolyn Bryant and the murderer Emmett Till is dead and Shiloh Hendrix is right there yelling nigga, nigga, nigga to your kids. And Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh defending it. You can't claim white supremacy is dead and they sitting right over there yelling nigga, nigga, nigga. The smart white supremacists like, shut up! You're blowing our cover. They can play you saying nigga, nigga, nigga. You can't say there's no racism and he can play you saying it. Shut up. So the smart ones are telling them, okay, we'll just make it a rule. Y'all just quit it out. Okay, you can't do that at all because you're blowing our cover. We can make it get through, but we got to do it slow and subtle. You're impatient, so you're demanding that everybody start yelling nigga, nigga, nigga. And all that does is prove that we're still here. Remember, it's like Star Wars and the Sith. I'm not being exaggerating. How did the Sith rise back again? Because they had to pretend they weren't there. That was the only reason that they were able to get Palpatine where he was. Now, I'm not trying to get too sci-fi about it, but that's the reason it worked. And George Lucas, by the way, that was a statement on Nazism, in case y'all didn't know. Okay, I'm just saying the Empire was a statement on Nazism and white supremacy. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, tell everybody that there's no Sith. Sith is dead. It's just the Jedi now. Everything's fine. Ain't no Sith around here. Meanwhile, the damn Sith is sitting right there in charge of the Senate.
Yep.
He's right there. And ain't no Sith. If you ask him, Palpatine, ain't no Sith. What you talking about? Sith is dead. Gone 1,000 years. Ain't no Sith around here. So, yes, all that does is help us. I need you to understand winning is not something you do in a folk gotta get patient so you can stack up all your chips, stack up all the dominoes, line them up, and then when the day comes, we're gonna knock them all down.
Yep. Go get your copy of 8 a.m., everybody. You won't regret it. That's all I can say.
Thank you very much for your help, brother. We appreciate that. Let me go see if we can get Superpower Media up here on Zoom. Yeah, y'all don't ever stop them from saying that. You need them on the record. They won't be on the record if you keep telling them to be quiet. Let them talk. All right, Superpower Media, what's on your mind?
Jason, I'm going to continue to say that, man. I appreciate you and the new black media for bringing the truth every day, because the big lie has always been I showed up with $1.75. I've never heard no nonsense like this before in my life. You cannot go nowhere with $1.70. I don't care what country you talking about you going to.
Brother, you can't get on the refugee boat with $1.75.
That just doesn't make any sense. Even in the 60s, if he came over in the 60s, we know cost of living was real cheap and bread, everything was cheap in the 60s. But $1.75 coming to the United States, man, that's the biggest crock of bullshit I ever heard in my life. And this is why those people in those countries can't make anything out of themselves, because they lie too much. That's why.
Well, brother, here's the thing: if they tell you how it is that they're able to, if they expose to you the secrets of how they support themselves to be able to get over here, they're telling you how to stop it. So that's why they're not going to tell you, how did you make it over here? It's like when you ask white folk about where the money come from. You get in front of the white man over there at the bank and whatnot. He telling everybody else. When you show up, they start whispering. So they're not going to tell you, I worked hard, we had to get together and, we worked real hard. We had our Sunday meetings. We prayed a whole lot. And next thing you know, I had $1 million in capital. It's like, what the hell? I've been praying for decades. Never got $1 million, never showed up. So it's nonsense. So they're not going to tell you how they support themselves, who they're working with and whatnot, because that would tell you exactly who to shut down. So that's that. If you all want to know how that works, that's the reason why. They're not going to tell you the ins and outs and the intricacies of it, because they know that gives you exactly what you need to shut it down. What Trump has done this year has only solidified to them, yeah, they were right. Don't tell them anything, because if we let folk know exactly how we're supporting ourselves when we get here, now they know exactly what to target.
Mm-hmm. And because of the thing is, what people don't, they become over here tearing off for foundational Black Americans, man. We don't have to lie about anything, and that's what's so good about foundational Black Americans, because we built the culture, we built Black Wall Streets, and everything's off our backs, the blood, the sweat, the tears. And so when everybody come over here to tether off us, and I thank God that we have awoken to what people have been doing to us, man, and we're not letting nobody tether off us anymore, because they've been lying the whole time, man. Coming from, I don't care where they come from, they lie every time they get over here. Yeah, I came over here with $1, or I came over here with 10 cents. Man, it just doesn't make any sense, man. And I thank God that if it wasn't for the new black media, man, I don't know where we'll be at. I mean, thank God that BT is falling apart. All these institutions that tried to tear it off us, they're going to fall apart, because there's nothing real. The Foundation of Black Americans, when we stick together and we fight together, man, we're going to make it. Be one, Jason.
Be one, brother. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see if I can take one more caller here. Let me go ahead and see if I can get iPad up here on Zoom. Let me go ahead and see if we can get iPad up here on Zoom real quick. All right, brother. I think it's David here on Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
Jason, Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we hear you.
Yeah. I've listened to a lot of content creators on YouTube and criticisms of America, and rightfully so. But every time I listen to them, right, it reminds me of a line in a Richard Pryor joke. I'm in love with a bitch I can't stand. Now, when it comes to delineating, it's cool that we delineate and become FBA, but we're not just delineating for delineating's sake. We're delineating, does that mean that as foundational Black Americans, does that mean that we cast our lot with America, or should we pursue becoming a sovereign state? I'll listen to your answer offline.
Okay, well, thank you for giving us a call tonight here. He's basically got the same question when he calls in, but you start with each other, not with everybody else. The whole point is to be on code. Be on code with each other first and foremost. When you talk about sovereignty, sovereignty starts between your ears. If you do not have allegiance to yourself, if you don't have your own, if you don't know who you are and have allegiance to yourself, I would be a fool to think that you're going to be able to cooperate and have allegiance to others. So everything begins there. So when you want to talk about sovereignty, a sovereign nation starts with people who are of one mind. That's where a sovereign nation begins. The so-called founders, they didn't start by getting together and figuring it out. They didn't start by getting together and figuring it out. Now, that's not what happened. They got together. They were at least of one mind that they needed to start a nation for white supremacy. And that's where they began. So sovereignty begins with each other. It begins between your ears. It begins with you having a code to yourself. That is where you start sovereignty. After that, then you bring it into the real world. At that point, nation states don't matter. State lines don't matter. Borders don't matter. Jewish society has proven that over the course of the last century. You can feel however you want to about them, but their goal was to make sure that nation states couldn't break them, laws couldn't break them. But it starts with being on code. It starts with being on code and acknowledging that that person over there is your best chance for survival. So that's where sovereignty starts. Sovereignty, with nation building, nationhood. Nationhood starts with a group of folk who are of the same mind. Not playing about it, not bulljobbing about it. They really, really are of the same mind. It begins there. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. You've heard tonight's program, and if you are new here to the Black Channel, the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought, hopefully we have earned the right to get you to click that subscribe button and become one of our subscribers, and click that yellow notification bell. So if you like what you've heard in tonight's program, and if we've earned your like and earned your subscribe, go ahead and do that for us now. And if we haven't, we'll join us back again here next week. We'll give it another crack. I'd like to thank everyone who has tuned in to support tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.